Okay. Peace and shalom, family. I think. Oh, my. 1 second. 1 second. All right, now that is better. All right, hit 1 if you can hear me. Hit 1 if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, hit 2. Hit 1 if you can hear me. 2 if you can't hear me. I forgot all to do my mic check, so I recently got a new computer, and I thought I had connected everything, and then I looked at the mic when I began speaking, and I realized there's no light, so it was definitely off, but good thing I caught it in time, and I'm not talking the whole 15 minutes and not realizing that the mic is off. So peace and shalom, family. Peace and shalom. What's going on? It's your brother DivineProspect, Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, back in the building. Back in the building. I know it's been a while, but we're back. We're back. Again, pushing through a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Took a small sabbatical to take care of some stuff. But I'm back here with y'all to say what's up, what's going on, what's going on. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. But before I do, I'm gonna give it some time for some of y'all to get in here. Hold on 1 second. Make sure I can pull this. Let's see if I can find this. Let me see. No, I don't think I have post, just a video. Okay, well, I can do that. All right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and see who's in the building, give a couple of shout outs, and we're gonna begin our show as we normally do. If at any time there's any audio or video issues, definitely let me know in the comments, and I'll try to catch wind of it and adjust accordingly. Again, this is my first time going live since I got this new computer, so anything's liable to happen, and we know how things get down. We know how Christian magic works and all of that. So anything can happen while we're going live. So most high willing, everything goes smoothly, and we can have a decent show on today. There's a couple of things I want to touch on real quick. Hopefully this will allot some time towards the end for a Q&A. If it doesn't, I'm sure enough relevant and valuable information will be shared that you guys will get your spiritual fulfillment until the next time we go live. All right. Okay, so let me give a couple of shout outs and then we're going to get it cracking. Shabbat Shalom, first and foremost, Mishpacha. And I'm going to start with Shalom, Israel, Young Lion, Ishmael, Abdur, Rahman, Shalom, You Love, Yah, Shalom, Kwaku RBG in the building, Shalom, what's going on? Asantawa, Shalom, Nazarene of the Way, Shalom King, Jeremiah, Bon Yasharala, Shalom, Gary Jones, Shalom, Yvette Rivera, Shalom, sis, how you doing? Scott Garrett Headley, Shalom, Peace Be Still, Shalom. Let's see who else we got in here. Deborah Odom, Shalom. Let's see, Mr. 6'5", Shalom King, what's going on? Derayahu Bendora, Shalom. Kaya Houston, Shalom. Ra'ana Israel, Shalom, sis. Shaul Yisrael, Shalom. Sister V Love, Shalom. Let's see, Mish Mashful, Shalom. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Tony Yaya Sharala, Shalom. Jacolia's Gems in the building, Shalom. Hakodesh Management in the building, Shalom. Nilante, Shalom. Let's see. Shout out to Seal the Elect. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate that, my brother. Rav, Kemuel, Shalom. Ariel, Shalom King. What's going on? Jeremiah 29:5. Shalom, sis. Jay, Shalom. R. Dale for Hope, Shalom. Raise the Matrix 7, Shalom. Lively Products, Shalom. Okay. All right. So we got most of our shout outs out the way. And as y'all come on in, I'm going to do what I can to catch y'all, give y'all a shout out. And we can continue to proceed to give you what you need. Oh, wait, I shouldn't be saying that right now. I think that's a P. Diddy idiom right there. And we already know the heat that's coming down on P. Diddy. According to his lyrics, he used to run this city, but he don't run nothing no more. He's about to hit rock bottom shortly. And that's very interesting, is back in the day I wanted to get signed to Bad Boy Records when I was a rapper. That's crazy, man. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. I want to say to those of you who were concerned because you didn't really see me in front of the camera in some time, I'm doing okay. I'm all right. Like I said, I took a short sabbatical, was taking care of some stuff, doing some research, prepping and all that fun stuff. And sometimes I may take time aside to do that, dealing with ministry on the back end as well, and trying to catch up with some stuff that I'm behind on. And some of y'all know that I'm behind on some stuff. So me and my small team will do what we can to catch up. If you want to volunteer or if you want to help out and support KHM, the link is in the description below. Also, we have a playlist where you can watch all of our chapter launches and kind of get more insight in regards to what KHM is about. We also have an orientation KHM team member session that you guys can check out as well. Let me see. Can you show the hat, like it, and where can we get one? Okay, so the hat, this is for a Patreon show that has not started, but the podcast, I'm going to do it also. I think I'm going to do it also on YouTube, but this is for the Raw and Uncut podcast. I have to do it on a platform. Like I can't do it on YouTube because on that platform, I talk about all types of stuff that's taboo. And you already know we already under fire here at KHM, right? So that's what this is about. When this podcast cracks off, I'm gonna let you guys know. You can tune in. And again, it's just gonna be me talking, right? Not really gonna do much video on it, but it's really gonna be talking. And again, I'm just gonna be unfiltered, just talk and speak and say and whatever, you know what I'm saying? And some good topics, some controversial stuff, very insightful stuff we're gonna get into. Matter of fact, one of the things I'm gonna touch on today is what I'm gonna go into more detail in the podcast. So please support the Patreon page. And again, those of you who continue to support in lieu of my presence, I appreciate that. Thank you for continue to give and support. Thank you for those who reached out to me, checking on me, those who sent encouragement, those who sent prayers, and those who kept checking every Friday night to see if there was a live going down. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that, family. That keeps me encouraged, keeps me wanting to come back and show up here for y'all, despite all the stuff that I'm handling in the background. And I just appreciate the love, man. And this is why I know that there's sincere love here. Even the haters love it. You know, when they come here, they're devoted. You know, they're willing to be here until 3 a.m. with us. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the haters as well, because they show a lot of love too. You know what I'm saying? It's a hatred that they hate you so much that they love you. You know what I'm saying? That hatred turns to obsession, obsession turns to love. And it's a very disgruntled type of love, but it's love nonetheless. It's love. There's a reason why they're here, because I would not give that much dedication to anybody I don't like for about 3-4 hours on a live stream. I just won't do that. But they're dedicated. So I appreciate the haters as well. Shout out to DJ in the building. Shalom. Hebrew Polymath. Shalom. I see you. What's going on? All right. DJ says, I forgot to hit you up about the IT thing. I don't know if I want to learn IT, UX, UI design, or cybersecurity. Well, a lot of money's in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, from the things you mentioned, is probably going to pay the most. So I would probably look into that. Cybersecurity, like solutions architecting is also programming. You know what I'm saying? And if you know multiple programming languages, like HTML5 for like websites, and Python and PowerShell, Bash scripting, which is like basic stuff, JavaScript or even Java. If you know programming and scripting, that pays a lot too in that field as well. Also cloud, anything dealing with cloud. So if you want to do UI, UX design for a cloud interface, you can do that. Anything working with APIs, right? That interfaces with the cloud and whatever clients that's on the computers domestically, server management, virtual servers, etc. So it depends on what you want to get into. Me, I'm a solutions engineer. Right now, I work in the POS space, the point of sale space, doing back-end solutions engineering for that. So that's what I currently do. But yeah, Python is easy to learn too. So I know Python, PowerShell, Bash scripting, JavaScript, and I think that's it. Oh, JSON, but that's basic. I use JSON when I use Postman to kind of validate APIs and so forth. So, so yeah, that's a great feeling. Again, it just depends on what you like to do. Now, if you like illustration, like you said, then yeah, do GUIs, right? GUIs, right? Graphical user interfaces, for cloud-based systems, right? If you do that, there's good money in that. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much, Ra'anana. I hope I say that right, sis. For the donation, I appreciate that. Also, as y'all know, YouTube has allowed this channel to be monetized again. So if you do want to give, you can go ahead and click that button down below, right underneath the chat, and you can give a super sticker or whatever else if you want to give while this show is in motion. All right. All right. So again, thank you guys for the support. Thank you for my Patreon patrons for hanging in there with me, continuously supporting every month. I have put out some content. I'll have more content to put out. So stay tuned for that. Just needed some time to bounce back. Next year is going to be extremely laden with content. So you're going to get what you paid for. And what we have in there already is almost 1,000 posts of content. You can just go scroll, all the way back to, I think, 2018. We have content on there. You know what I'm saying? On the Patreon. So there's tons of stuff to read, tons of videos to watch, tons of tools that we give you, resources. There's just so much on the Patreon. I mean, it pays for itself. If I never add a new post ever again, there's just so much content in there. You can't even get through all of it in maybe 5-10 years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I have that repository there for the community, and we're going to get it cracking. So I also got this book here called Ancient Israel, From Abraham to the Roman Destruction of the Temple, 3rd edition. This is pretty much from Biblical Archaeology Society's publishing. This is the 3rd edition. The editor is Herschel Shanks, who's the main editor, and I think he's the lead there over at BAS as well. They have a 4th edition, which I just ordered. It came out in 2012. This one, came out in 2021. I'm tripping. This one came out in 2011. I love this book. This book gives you the entire history of ancient Israel, right, from a biblical perspective and an archaeological perspective, and shows you the meshing in between, which is the modern position which we hold. And it is a de facto in regards to ancient Israel, right? As far as reading, right? Information. And that 4th edition is better because we're talking about almost 10 years worth of updated content in that 4th edition. So when I get that 4th edition, I will definitely let you guys know. I'm also going to get 3 copies so I can do some giveaways on that 4th edition, which you can only get by subscription to BAS, which I'm a member of. But this one, you can get this from Amazon for like $20. I got it for $20. It was on sale. I got it for $20. But yeah, this is a great read. But I can't wait to see the 2021 fourth edition, which has loads of updated content. All right. Okay. So also there's a YouTube channel. Let me pull it up real quick. It's called God's Will Music. And I just discovered this channel today. Let me see if I can find this. Where is it at? Oh, here it is. Right. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm not gonna play it because you know how finicky YouTube is. So I'm just gonna show it to you in case y'all want to subscribe. Right. Here it is right here. God Will Music. All right. Make sure you guys subscribe. They got tons of great content. What I do like is these interviews in regards to people maybe coming out of Christianity and into the truth of being an Israelite or some things that they've encountered do their day-to-day walk and so forth. They also have great songs in there as well. Great channel. I bumped into it. I'm a mod in a couple of groups on Facebook, and I seen them make a post in there, and I went and checked the post out actually before I approved it because I'm a mod there, and I was like, wow, this is some great content. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. If you're interested, go ahead and support the channel. Great channel, great content, so forth. So yeah, that's how we do it. All right, so I just want to give that a quick shout out, and we're gonna go next in our list. Okay, so the next thing, y'all may have seen this video going rounds on social media. I first saw it on Instagram. Somebody shared it on Instagram, and I recently just posted it today on my Patreon and in the Kingdom Harbinger Ministries community tab. And this is video where there's this Hebrew Israelite camp that is actually celebrating Thanksgiving, and they're eating pork. Yeah. So some of y'all, there's been other Israelite channels that have spoken on this, right? Some even reached out for debate. And I just thought that was very interesting. There is a book that I have on the Patreon. You can check it out called The Taboo of a Pig. Very great book. It gives you a history behind why pigs were unclean or why pigs get the rep that they did get. And yeah, you should really do some reading on that just to get some research. But out of the ethnogenesis of the Israelite culture within Canaan, you see that they had made themselves distinct from the Philistines within their dietary restrictions to not eat pork, right? And these attributions went to their patron deity, who they purported to have divine inspiration from. And they made that into a cultural mandate now that the theocratic system has waned away, and it becomes cultural mandates and is passed on from one generation to another. And a lot of cultures do have a diet, right? So this is the diet of those who subscribe to being an Israelite. And not only do we see it in the literature, but we also see it reflected in the fauna flora that we find in archaeology. And this is something that is technically set in stone, right? When we talk about fauna flora and bioarchaeology, this is literally set in stone, right? So we know the diet of this culture, and we know that pork, swine, pig was not part of that dietary system, right? But this is what they're teaching. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go ahead and play the video for y'all, so y'all can check the video out, and we're gonna go over this, right? I'm gonna address this real briefly because I thought it deserved a response, and it's just showing you that the liberty that a lot of these groups have and not keeping the integrity of the cultural mandates being passed on to them. And again, it's not a refinement, it's not an adaptation, it is not an upgrade or evolution of the culture, because the culture makes a way for evolution by means of halakha, right? And that halakha would be based on the geographical location that you reside in when you're outside of the land, right? So you take your culture and you adapt it via halakha. So you create these methods of interpretation and application of the things that are implicit in scripture, and you make it explicit based on your environment, right? So for example, if there are first fruits that are to be given or set aside for the patron deity, and you're not in the land of Israel, or what's called Palestine today, but you're in another land, you first have to spot what are those items that is in your geographical location, in your environment, right? That actually comes forth or buds forth, that is the staple crop in that region during the time that we will call spring. And that is what will be given as a first fruit offering, right? So that is how you adapt, staying true to the cultural paradigm, right? And making adaptations via halakha, so that way things are a one-to-one mapping, right? That is how you adapt. So going outside of the confines of that cultural paradigm, which is designed to solve problems, right? The moment it stops solving problems, that's when you need a paradigm shift. But so far, with the proper execution and application of this cultural paradigm, it can solve problems, right? And that is what we do in the realm of IT as well. We use paradigm models in order to solve problems, right? So this has a set of rules, and these rules are designed to solve problems. I did a whole lecture of this back in 2019 in New Orleans. Shout out to brother Shay Mikhael. KHM New Orleans, when I went out there and I talked about the dietary law, and I talked about how the ecology and the environment, and living in that environment and interacting with the ecology of the environment is how you template a means of creating a dietary system, right? And observing the animals, right? And trial and error over time with various diets, you come to what's called a staple diet that is akin to that particular cultural group, right? And that's important. So once that is established, that means if you encounter said animals that are considered forbidden or off the list for your diet, then you don't eat that, including those elements into the diet of the cultural paradigm that's designed to resolve problems. And one of the issues was the consumption of swine or pork, and how that affects the individual over time. And they saw through trial and error that this is not really good, and the individual who is engaging in it is culpable for any kind of medical issues that they have as a result of consuming said pork or swine or item that is has its role in the ecology, that the overconsumption of said item will not be able to replenish what said animal is responsible for doing within the environment, right? And this pork that we call pork or swine, pig, has various names, right? Porcine, if you'll see that also in ingredients, stuff that you eat, which goes back to the swine, is something that is off limits, right? That we see that word unclean, but technically that word is supposed to really relate to what we know as we could say um forbidden, right? So something that is permitted, something that is forbidden, right? Why is it forbidden? And again, it's because it's not in alignment with the cultural paradigm that was created to solve a problem within the ecology of the environment. And that is, what things should we consume, what things should we not consume, and how our interaction with said things, whether you consume or don't consume it, affects the ecology of the environment in which we live. So when you eat swine, you throw off the ecology of the environment. And when that happens, then you have a shift in how things are balanced. And when that happens, it is a disregard from the divine inspiration that was responsible for permitting this code to work the way it functions, right? So you are disregarding the community's values and the values that is attributed to the patron deity who's responsible for the inspiration for this diet to be created in Leviticus chapter 11, which we see in scripture, right? So hopefully I'm not going too far, but like I said, within a paradigm there are rules, and those rules are designed for a reason, to keep order and structure. Once the order and structure breaks down, then depending on the environment that you're in, you will disrupt the ecology of the environment. So you must stay in harmony with the environment, and that is something that we have been given dominion of, that we need to be in alignment with nature, the environment. So when you consume pigs And this is something that you continue to do, and you are telling those who you're getting your food from that it's permissible for you to slaughter these animals for us to consume. And that is a problem. Not only that there are health issues with consuming pork, right? And again, this template is not limiting you to, oh, I have to eat this. If you're a vegan, being a vegan does not go across the boundaries of consuming that which is forbidden. You're allowed to do it. So if you're a vegan, that's the safest thing to be, because you're not going to violate this legal code, right? And if you do eat clean, quote unquote, or things that are permitted, and you understand how that template functions outside of the land of Israel and into wherever you are in the world, again, that template is designed there. It tells you what the template is, and it gives you sample animals that match that template. Template is very simple, right? The animal that divided the cub, the hoof is divided, and it chews the cud. That is the template. So when you're in a foreign land and you're looking at pastoralists who have cattle, who have, let's say they have goat, sheep, or other types of livestock, you understand with that method that has been given to you in the template to go and look at it here and screen the animals there to say, okay, do they fit this template? And if so, this is something that is safe to consume. That is important. So it gives you the template. It gives you the rules of the cultural paradigm. And if you follow these rules and you consume said animals that it restricts you to consuming, then that is the prime diet of the community. And therefore, you are in alignment with the cultural mandate of said culture. And that's important. And that's how we need to operate. When you see people in our community that break or disrupt that cultural paradigm, the question is, does this enhance the culture by being inclusive of animals that you know that the legal code within the rules of conduct of the cultural paradigm says is forbidden? Should I continue to eat this because it adds value? It does not add value. You cannot prove it adds value. The person who is doing it, I don't even think they're cognizant that what they're doing is disrupting a cultural paradigm that's designed to protect the community in regards to their best interest as it pertains to their diet. They're not thinking about that. They're not thinking outside the box. They're thinking in a religious perspective. They say, oh, it's permissible for me to eat pork. And then their reasoning for it is very odd, strange. So if I'm going to eat something, right? Let's say that I'm in an area where there's an animal that was never even thought of, right, or known by said book, right? But I take the principles. This is how halakha works. I take the principles or the rule set that is encased within the cultural paradigm, and I say, okay, this new animal, right? It falls in alignment with the rule set for the animals that are permissible, not the animals that are forbidding. So therefore, being in this environment, I can't consume said animal. Now, I've mentioned this before, like the horned owl, right? And I mentioned apex predators. Apex predators, as it pertains to birds, are responsible because they keep the vermin count down. If you consume them, you are depleting their populace and thereby permitting the vermin count, which is a vector for disease, to increase. When that happens, you become a detriment to the environment because these things carry disease. And if there are human beings that are living there, and even any other animals, then these rats or other vermin associated, similar to rats, will continue to spread disease, and it will cause a famine. And therefore, your livestock will die, and you will break down the hierarchy of that ecology, right, in that environment. And that's something we want to stay away from, right? So this is very important. And again, a lot of people can't explicate it in this fashion because they don't look at it as a model outside of a religious perspective. But once you understand how that works, like for example, in programming, there's syntax. Syntax is based on rules. If you try to input code or a string of code that does not follow the rules, you will get no output. And if you do get output, it will be an error. And therefore, your entire code stack will fall apart. There's a reason for the rules. That is how it functions. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to be part of that culture. You can choose another culture. But if you choose this culture, there's a set of rules. That's how it works. So somebody would have to give me a case study and commentary on that case study as to why it should be permissible to consume pork. The patron deity does not permit it in the literature. The culture we see has consistently not permitted as a dietary element. They have not permitted that. So why are you eating pork? Let alone the health benefits that you don't get from consuming pork. So we're gonna watch this, and when we watch this, we're gonna see the stuff. We're gonna see the stuff. All right, let me just play it real quick and stop talking. All right, I'm trying to put it in a way that anybody can pick it up and understand. Again, it is a cultural paradigm that has a set of rules. The set of rules that's attached to that paradigm is designed to solve a problem. One issue is what should we eat and what shouldn't we eat in regards to this culture. The culture, through trial and error over a period of time, has discovered what one should eat and not eat in order to be in harmony with the ecology of the environment in which they live in. This has been attributed, knowledge has been attributed, or wisdom has been attributed to the deity, patron deity that they subscribe to, and is the responsible agent for disseminating this wisdom to said people. And the people follow this paradigm to keep the integrity of the community intact and act as an immune system to prevent them from introducing elements outside of the community into the community that can cause harm, damage, or injury. You understand? So that is how we should look at these things. That's the difference between a culture and a difference between religion. Religion is God tell me yes or no, and that's it. Culture is no. It's not just God tell me yes or no, but why? Why did it develop this way? Why were we divinely guided to create this legal code based on the environment which we lived in? Right? Why? And the why is a culture. And when you understand the why, it makes sense. You gravitate to it further, you connect to it more. When somebody says it's just because God told me not to do it, that means you have limited knowledge in regards to the cultural element of the text. You're just dealing with the religion. And that's where we become fanatics, and that's where things become dangerous. Right? All right. So I'm going to play this video. Enough talking. Let me play this video. Now, I might get striked for it. Possibly. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. You know, the channel supported in other ways, so it's okay. It looks like the video is like jerky or jittery. Let me know. Hit 1 if the video is good. Hit 2 if you see the stuttering, the jitteriness, or whatever of the video. Let me know. Right? It looks a little like it's a little jittery for me, but please assist and let me know before I proceed if everything's okay or if it actually needs work. It's good. Okay. All right. So let me grab the video. Where's the video at? I'll find it. I'll get the video. All right. All right. I found the video. Oh, that's not it. All right, here it is. All right. Let me go ahead and play it for y'all, and then I'll give my commentary after it's over. All right, here it is.
Shalom, Israel. First, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Mashiach Yahushai. All praises due. Peace and salutations to the royal house of David. This is what it's all about. I know some of y'all out there are cooking and eating, and we doing the same thing over here. If you having any reservations, I just want you to know that it is okay. All right. Scripture says in Romans chapter 14 that some men esteem one day above the next, and some men esteem one day all alike. We choose with a conscious choice to make.
When that scripture was written, Thanksgiving did not exist. Let's keep going.
Make this Yahweh Shai Day, and we do this in remembrance, all right, of our son.
Now, for the record, they're doing this around Thanksgiving, okay?
And brother who died for Israel to reunite the northern and southern kingdom. And this is the symbol, all right, that we hold dear and will always hold dear throughout all eternity. All right. So anybody saying that we're worshiping Thanksgiving or we're uplifting the murder of Native Americans, that's a damn lie. We're not upholding any of that. We're changing the meaning of this day because
they're changing the meaning of Thanksgiving. That's the same thing that Christians do when it comes to the holidays. They're like, oh, I don't care about the history or the customs or the stuff that we do. I'm changing the meaning of it. Well, if you're going to change the meaning of it, you might as well make another holiday all together. Make your own, like Kwanzaa. Make your own holiday. But let's keep going. This is just an excuse to celebrate this holiday. Let's keep going.
Beginning now to destroy the idols out of the land. We have no respect or no love for any fucking Thanksgiving. This is Yahweh Shai Day. And every day that we celebrate, we're going to do this in remembrance of him. All right. So we might as well show you the spread.
He said this is Yahweh Shai Day. It's not Thanksgiving. It's called Yahweh Shai Day. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I want to see what they got on the menu. Let's keep going.
All right. And if y'all like, you can send me what y'all cooking. We're going to show y'all what we getting ready to eat on. All right. Shalom. What we got here?
I can't send you nothing because I'm not celebrating that holiday. Did I see family on that day? I sure did. Did they make food? They did. I ain't celebrate that holiday. Everybody in my family know how I get down. And the only reason why I went this year to see my family on that day is because my grandmother is terminally ill. And this is probably the last time I'm going to see her. I'm probably not going to see her this time next year, the way things are looking. Right. So I went to go see my family because of that reason. Right. So I'm not gonna be so staunch in my position that I'm not considering my level of empathy or love for a family member. I mean, that's what the scriptures esteem, right? So I went for that purpose. I'm not there saying, oh, okay, this is Thanksgiving. Let's go ahead and celebrate Thanksgiving. And yeah, I'm gonna name this another day, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that for this. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
We got some roast. What is that?
That's turkey.
Turkey. All right, that's the turkey.
All right, and I'm gonna say this, right? I don't want to step on no toes, but I'm gonna say this. When I look at the food that Black or African Americans call soul food, we eat the most unhealthiest than any other ethnic group in this country. And a lot of the items that we were forced to eat when we were brought over here and we were enslaved was a result of survival. That was not the staple crops and meals that we made before we got taken over here. This is how we adapt. And this has become part of Black culture. This is why we have the highest rate of disease and death, the highest rate of cardiovascular disease, CVD, than any other ethnic group on this planet. And the reason for that is because this is how we've learned to eat. Because the method that we've learned to cook and make food from grandma and them, from generation is based off of survival foods and methods of cooking based on being placed in an environment that was not designed for us to thrive in. So we eat in survival mode. We don't eat the most optimally that we can. Now in 2023, we have options to do that, but we choose not to break that generational curse. So I advise everybody, eat as healthy as you can, right? That doesn't mean you're going to do it every day. I'm going to be realistic. Everybody doesn't do it every day. I know I don't do it every day, but I strive to do it most of the time, right? And you owe it to your family and your children to eat as healthy as you can. Now, when you look at this, there's a ton of lard and grease and all types of stuff, right? High dairy, all types of stuff is in here. And when you see what he says, how he makes his ham, Yeah, you're gonna see that part. I'm like, wow. You'll see why it's so unhealthy, right? And again, I feel for my people because some of us don't know no better. I know from time ago, I tried to tell my grandmother that. I'm like, hey, grandmother, the stuff you're eating has little to no nutritional value at all. Like you may want to start eating a little bit more raw. And and she said, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And she never did. And now, as a result of that, she's terminally ill. You know what I'm saying? So it's really crazy, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Again, we're not all 100% in doing this. Some of us need to make some adaptations. I know me as well. We can always fine tune and tweak, but I just want to show you one generational curse that we have yet to break in the Black community, and that is eating healthier, right? And when you see this, you'll understand, right? Shalom to my brother Yalan Ben Yisrael. Thank you for the donation, my brother. All right, so let's go ahead and continue to watch. All right, this is you're about to see some stuff. Just keep watching.
All right. All right. We got yellow corn with bacon, pepper bacon at that, and black pepper. All right. We got fried cabbage. We got dirty rice. And over there we got cornbread dressing. Coming on around.
Watch this.
What's this right here?
That is the pork roast.
This is cut up pork roast.
Cut up pork
That's
roast.
Cut up beef roast.
I just lost the
And this is my world famous. Look at that ham right there. Y'all see that?
Ham.
See that there? Do y'all see that there? All right. That's that ham. That ham was marinated in Coca-Cola for about 2 straight.
Yo, I'm about to do the Mississippi hat throw in a second. This is crazy right now, yo. What? Listen, they couldn't have invited me there because I'm gonna have to throw hands. They're gonna have to all physically escort me up out of there, man. This is crazy. World famous. Keep listening, man. Keep listening. Listen to this.
All right. That's that ham. That ham was marinated in Coca-Cola for about 2 straight days.
The ham has been marinated in Coca-Cola for 2 straight days. This is what I want y'all to do, right? Let's do this experiment, right? I want y'all to go and get some pork from any grocery store. All right. Put it in a bowl. And I want you to pour some Coca-Cola on that and just watch what happens. Matter of fact, let me take a pause for 1 second. Let me take a pause. I'm going to come right back to this. Hold on 1 second. This is when keeping it real goes wrong. I'm going to show you something real quick. All right. Watch this. Hold on. Let me get it. Let me see it. This is the video. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you this. I've done this myself, right? So I'm going to show you this. Watch this. I'm going to show you this random video on YouTube, right? And then if you want the peer-reviewed article, academic stuff, I could send you one on that too. But just take a look at this.
Okay. Listen to that sizzling. Nothing at first. Oh my god. Are you kidding me?
Why are you touching them?
Well, a little bit. Fucking sick.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video, put it on Patreon, man. I'm gonna do that experiment. I did it maybe over like 10 plus years ago. I'm gonna do it again. So imagine you take that pork and you let it marinate in that Coca-Cola for 2 days straight. How many worms and parasites is gonna be? Yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Okay, we're gonna keep letting the video play. Let's go back to the video. Man. You see, this is what I'm talking. This is a generational curse, man. We're not breaking it. And our folk, they don't want to break, make an excuse for it. All right, let's keep going.
Got my own private glaze on there. All right. And the mac and cheese. You wait, will that deepen up? The mac and cheese. My voice don't go no deeper. All right. We got that good mac and cheese going. So we are now going to what else? You got something else?
Some gravy. What I have to.
Well, what is it without gravy? Look at that there. Huh? Y'all see how brown that is?
What is that?
We know you want to. Go ahead and show them.
Shalom.
Why would you have your face
Shalom,
on the
Mr.
camera?
To the family.
Peace and blessings. All
Yo, you
praises.
Yo, look at the menorah on them.
Ain't we modest? Check them out.
Yod Hey Vav all over them.
Sweet potato cheesecake pie. What else we got? We got parfaits.
This
We
is
got parfaits. We got banana. What is that? Banana, strawberry, blueberry, pineapples. What is that?
Banana pudding parfait.
Banana pudding parfaits. All right. And what else? What else we got?
We have a carrot cake that's in here and a fruit pie.
Carrot cake, yeah. And a little Mike's hard lemonade to wash it down. How about that? How about that? And what are you doing? Huh? What are you doing?
I mean, if you're gonna get right, you might as well get some wine.
Oh shit!
You don't get some hard Mike's lemonade.
Nadab, come on over here. Salat. Now Nadab. No. I want you to come. That just ain't your name no more. Yeah. Now Nadab, this is what he got to drink with two hands, monkey style. See there? Yeah. He's gonna guard this all night. See? Y'all see that? That's what's called Yahweh Shai Sangria. All right. So
Yahweh Shai
yes,
Sangria.
That's about it for today. These are all of everybody who came out to celebrate with us today.
Everybody.
All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Wow.
All praises. Let's have a moment of prayer right now before we start.
Pray too, that's gonna make.
And then we're gonna let y'all go.
We'll get the parasites out.
We're gonna lift up the name. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. 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 Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. All praises due. All right. Spin that around for me, smooth man. No, yeah, that good. You got me in there. All right, check it out.
Now look at this guy.
I want y'all to enjoy this day because we ain't got many left. And on the other side of captivity, this is how we gonna do it all day, every day. All right. When that trouble comes, we're gonna be ready. So y'all hold on tight wherever you at. All right. Love y'all. Royal House of David. The water for pushing that plow and keeping that.
Listen. I have nothing personal against this brother, so I want to make sure that's out there and clear. He seems like a pretty reasonable elder. However, this teaching is crazy. And in regards to the brother's weight, if that house was on fire, would he make it out? And that's my concern, right? That maybe nobody's saying that to him. Like, brother, maybe you want to slow down on the calories and the carbs, and like you're doing a little too much, man. Like, seriously, right? Because it's an endangerment to his health. And this is definitely going to affect him over a longer period of time. And if the bulk of that weight is fat modules forming for the pork that he's eating, which has fats and it has proteins in it, right? A little bit of carbs in it, and that's what's getting stored in his system, man, that's not going to be good. You know what I'm saying? So again, I have nothing personal against the brother. I don't know him. I'm just saying I could tell that he is a bit obese, and we can see why. You know what I'm saying? And again, if that place was on fire, could he get up out of there? And that is a really, and imagine if he has children that he has to get up out of that fire and go back in the fire and get the kids out. Imagine if there's an active shooter somewhere. Brother, you can't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is terrible. I feel bad for the brother. You know what I'm saying? If I reached out to him and was like, brother, let's talk about like things you can do to improve your health. Like, you first have to cut out that diet. And there's one thing to teach that doctrine, which is folly and it's wild. It's another thing to actually like pay attention to your health and like are you do you not see a decline, brother? Like, we need somebody to intervene there. But nobody's saying nothing. It's all Gucci. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? So people were saying that, oh, this video is fake and they were just doing this for clout and so forth. I'm going to show you the next video after this where he's justifying why they're eating pork. Once I saw that, I was like, okay, now I got to show this video because it ain't fake. And they're dead serious about this. These are not paid actors. They are sincere about this. And this brother, the leader, he's going to explain. He said, and he calls himself the King of Israel too. I peeped that. But yeah, so let's go to the next video, and then I'm gonna give my last commentary. We're gonna move on to the next subject. But this is eye-opening. And I'm like, yo, are you serious? Like, are we reading from the same text? Like, if you're gonna say you're a Christian, you want to eat pork, then why you got a menorah? Why using Israel? Why are you having Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh anywhere? Why are you mentioning Israel, David, or any of that, or Judah, any of that anywhere? Just be a Christian. And if you be a Christian, you can eat all the pork you want. I mean, doing this is just some next level. Like, you have no regard for anything. This is crazy. So let's go into the next video. Let's go into the next video. All right. I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna show you where he justifies this. And it's just like, what? And I've never heard this type of explanation on it before. Like, I never heard anybody explain like this before. So this was like fascinating to me when he was saying. So hold on. So let me rewind it. And I'm going to show you how he justifies it, okay? All right, listen up.
Now, I'm going to go upside your head with the Hebrew concerning pork. Since y'all on me about this pork, let's deal with that, all right? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 11. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7. And I'm only picking that one. This whole passage deals with clean and unclean foods, but we're going to get into that, all right? Leviticus 11 and 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Now, why is he unclean? Well, what makes him an abomination? An abomination is something that can't be he's past being unclean. I got that. I get that. But what makes him unclean? Is it because he's not safe to eat? Let's find out. All right. He's got a split hoof and he looks like a grazing animal. But he doesn't chew the cud. He only got one belly. So that means that his blood is impure. You can't, if the Most High didn't classify him as abominable, you would try to sacrifice a pig's blood on the altar, which you cannot do. His blood cannot atone for your sins.
So he's saying the reason why pigs are unclean is because they don't have multiple stomachs. They have one stomach and their blood is unclean. That's why the pig is unclean. Now, if that's the case, the last time I checked, the body of any mammal has capillaries, arteries, and veins that are responsible for distributing blood, which when we look at red blood cells, hemoglobin is concave, holds oxygen, and delivers that oxygen to each and every cell and organ in the body. So if the blood is doing that, then why are you eating anything that it is transporting the blood to? Then some people gonna say, oh, but the scripture says the life is in the blood, so therefore, so you telling me, so you're gonna butcher it, and then you're gonna cook the blood out of it, and then now it becomes clean? Show me where that part of scripture is there. I have not read that in Torah before. I can listen, I will stand corrected. I'm okay. I'll stand corrected. But if the blood is impure, then why even eat the animal? That makes no sense. No sense. But I'm gonna let him continue. I don't want to put words in his mouth. Let him continue.
That's what makes him unclean. It makes him ceremonially unclean. Not that you can't eat him now, and I'm gonna show you why. Now, y'all see this right here? I got it highlighted. Now, what you want to do, for those of you and some of you cabbage head ass women on here, shut up for a minute and learn.
Whoa. You see that? That's the mindset we're dealing with right now. So there's sisters, I guess, on his live that's checking him. And he has the nerve to try and pull some kind of rank. I guess he thinks he has rank. You got to see how he does his salutations in the beginning. He calls himself the king. I don't know what that's about. But then he's getting checked by wisdom, right? Chokhmah, feminine, wisdom coming through the woman. We see that mentioned in Proverbs. But anyway, that's another study altogether. Sisters are coming in here to check him. And now this is how he responds to those sisters. That's what he responds to those sisters. That's how he talks to them. And yet in that video, we saw a sister that was there cooking all this trash with his pork and his Coca-Cola and his special glaze, whatever that is. This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying to the sisters that's trying to check it. And you're supposed to be a leader, bro? Talking like that to the sister? Okay, let's keep playing. We're going to keep playing. All right, let's see.
Learn something, all right?
Let's rewind it back in case y'all didn't hear that.
Y'all see this right here? I got it highlighted. Now, what you want to do, for those of you and some of you cabbage head ass women on here, shut up for a minute and learn something, all right?
Wow.
Now, this is the Blue Letter Bible, okay? You tap on there, right? You scroll down. Hold on. You scroll down. You go to interlinear, right? Now, screen jumps over. You scroll down, okay, to unclean. See right there? If you look right here, you see the word tame, right? Let's hit tame. And it shows you what it means in the Hebrew. You can even look it up right here. Y'all see right there? H2930. You punch that into Google, it'll show you in the Hebrew what the word tame means. Now, what does it say? It says unclean, impure, ethically and religiously, all right? Ritually of places. Now, let me show y'all something. If you scroll down a little more, Strong's definition right here. Tame, see there? Religious sense, all right? Religious sense.
Is that word defiled?
Defiled,
there you go.
Infamous, polluted, unclean, from a religious sense. It means that.
Wait. Why did you stop there? Wait, so brother, you got to go further and see where it tells you the usage of said definitions are. You just read the semantical range or value of that word. You did not see the usage. So you didn't fully utilize that lexicon to the best of your ability. Or maybe you did. Or maybe you're purposely glossing over those things. But you just didn't finish using the lexicon. You just didn't finish using it. But let's continue. I'm gonna let you go.
Blood can't be sacrificed. A pig's blood cannot atone for your sins. And this was during the time that you had to have a blood atonement. All right. Am I making this up? No, I'm showing you right there in the Hebrew. It doesn't say it's not healthy. It doesn't say it's not good to eat. At that time when we were
It doesn't say it's not healthy. It doesn't say it's not good to eat. Did he not read? Okay. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna write this down. I don't know if he read it, the text. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I'm gonna give him. We're gonna keep reading. Yes, and please hit the like button if you're enjoying this. Let's keep it going. We'll go ahead and play it. Go ahead and play it. Let's go back.
Under the law of Moses, which we're not now, which is what your camp leaders teach you. Y'all been lied to. Okay.
Wait. So he says we're not under Moses right now. That's what he said. Your camp leaders are telling this, and they lied to you. I want to see if your man Paul was being lied to as well, and or if he's lying to y'all as well. We're going to see if your man Paul is going to teach to do away with the customs of Moses. We're going to go into scripture. We're going to get that in a second. But apparently, your camp leaders, they're leading y'all astray by telling y'all don't eat pork. Okay, so let's keep going. We're going to keep going. Let him finish. And remember, Paul was after Yeshua died, right? So let's keep going.
You cannot sacrifice a pig's blood. It had to be a grazing animal with a cloven foot. All right.
We're talking about eating. This has nothing to do with Leviticus 11. Has nothing to do with sacrifices, brother. You're not even reading the context. It's about consumption for food, i.e., eating. Well, how'd you just divert like that? This is crazy. But let's keep going. I'm gonna let him keep going.
A cloven hoof, and he was a grazing animal. Yeah, pigs eat all kind of stuff. I'm not going to even sit here and lie to you. They do, but so do chicken.
But okay, yeah. Now here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. These animals in their ideal environments are not just going to eat anything. Pigs, on the other hand, they're opportunistic eaters. That's just part of their nature. Chickens, in their natural environment, they don't just eat anything. Chickens, they have a particular diet. But if there's nothing around, they're going to take advantage of whatever's given to them. But we're talking about naturally, if you put the animal in its natural environment, is that how it acts? Is that its characteristics? So for him to say this, watch, we're going to keep seeing him justify this. Let's keep going.
Chicken will eat his own shit. And I know you niggas eat that, but you can eat a chicken. Why? Because he stands up. The Bible says that his feet, his body had to be over his feet.
I know you ninjas eating chicken. Because y'all black, right? I know y'all ninjas eating chicken. He just gave a racial stereotype. That is hilarious, bro. Let's keep going.
For you to eat them, right? So, right. Let's take a look at catfish. All right. Look at crab, shrimp, lobster, right? You couldn't eat shellfish back then. You know why? Because there was no blood. There was no blood for them to atone for your sins. That's why they were unclean. They were ceremonially unclean. All this shit that y'all hearing, y'all camp leaders have taught y'all is bullshit, man. Even one of y'all got on my Isa about her wearing pants. Well, does it really say a woman can't wear pants? Does it really say that? Or is that some shit that they made up? Well, let's look. And remember, y'all started this. All right. This is Deuteronomy 22 and 5.
He got the nerve to say that we started it, but the text is saying that. What's he talking about?
Here.
No.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
What does that have to do
Neither
with
shall
anything?
a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord. Let's see what it means. All right. Once again, hit it until in there, right? Scroll up. Let's go on down to that which pertaineth. See right there? The word is Kelly. Kelly, right?
Kelly.
Hit Kelly. See there?
Okay. Wait. Why you
That's what it says. When it says, a woman shall not wear that which pertaineth, I'm going to read it off to you. Now, I want y'all to go to this yourself, okay?
How is this related?
Article, vessel, implement, utensil, article, object, general, utensil, implement, apparatus, vessel, implement of hunting or war, implement of music, implement, tool of labor, equipment, yoke of oxen, utensils, furniture, vessel, receptacle, vessel, bolts of paper, reed. That's it. Just the list. Pants is nowhere in there. Now, it says apparatus. Let's look up apparatus. All right. Apparatus.
But how is this related?
Here is the definition for apparatus.
And you went to an
The
English
technical
definition of
equipment
apparatus?
or machinery needed for a particular activity or purpose.
A machinery. What is he talking about? All right. So we went over this before, right? This is beating on a dead horse, but I'm gonna mention it real quick, right? This is unrelated to what he's talking about, right? For the record, Leviticus 11 is talking about eating, not sacrificing. Okay, right. And the reason why you can't sacrifice it because the dietary law says you should not touch it or eat its flesh or touch its carcass. That means it's dead. You cannot slaughter it. That's what the text says. Is Leviticus 11. That's why. It doesn't do with the blood and all this other stuff you're talking about. But anyway, so when you read the verse that he's bringing out about the woman should not wear that pertains to a man, etc., the word there for man is gibor. Gibor means literally just a man of war, right? And what that is referring to in the ancient Near East is that there were times that they were soldiers, right? They were on the battlefield, they would fight, war would happen, they would lose, and they would escape into the nearest town. And what the men would do is take off their garments and they will put on the garments of women so they would not be identified and killed by their adversaries. That is why a man is told, a warrior man, a gibor, not an ish, a gibor, is told not to put on that which pertains to a woman. And women were not allowed to go to war. So a woman should not put on that which pertains to a gibor, a warrior man. That's all that's talking about. What are you doing right now, bruh? I don't know what you're talking about. Now, when people use that to say, oh, women shouldn't wear pants, well, they didn't have pants at that time in the Iron Age period. There was no pants. That didn't come too much later till you get to the Persians. And they started wearing what we would call or look at as stockings or things that would be considered the beginnings of pants. There's no breeches. That is an English word, right? But the priest, he wore what we call boxer briefs to hold his genitalia closer to him so it wouldn't interfere with his work or his labor in the temple. Okay, that right there, boxer brief, those are not pants. Okay, and those go maybe the thigh length, right from the waist. And these were garments only for the priests, undergarments for the priests. They didn't have pants back then. Okay, so if you go into a department store and there's a section that says women and there's pants there, right? Now, you can say what you want. I'm talking about people who disagree with this. Is pants there and a woman decides to put on those pants are designed for the woman. That is functional because it's designed for her shape, etc. Now, some proponents of the KJV only would say, oh, women shouldn't wear pants, they should wear skirts and so forth. That's another conversation. But if a woman puts on pants, those pants were designed for women, not men. Go to the other section to see men's and his pants. Those were designed for men. Now, whether or not you choose to wear pants or not, that's totally up to you. That's another conversation we can have, but that has nothing to do with what that text is saying at all. Nothing to do with that text. Now, if you wanted it to pertain to the text, then you would have the cultural stance to say, hey, we don't want none of our women to go to war. They should not be putting on no vests, no armor plates. They should not be equipped themselves with no AR rifles, right? They should not be going to war because that's not what we want our women at. Let us go to war, and our women will help to raise our children and hold down the fort with the behind the scenes operations, their military intelligence. Let the men go to the front line and fight. We don't want our women to fight. That's not their place. That's our place. They are the last line of defense. If we die, then they can defend. But going to war, when one is declared, that is the men's job, not the women. That would be more accurate. Or as a man, don't be a coward once you set your foot to go to war. Don't become a cross-dresser and act feminine when you get in your butt whooped. In war, you handle that like a G because you signed up for it. That's more one-to-one mapping applicable than whatever he's saying and whatever's being taught outside of what the text is saying. That is proper exegesis. Okay. All right. So we're gonna continue, man. There's little nuggets there, but we're gonna continue. Let's keep going, man. Let's keep going.
Complex structure within an organization of systems. That's all apparatus means. So pants are nowhere in there. Now
he's right with that.
Let's go down. It says, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. Same scripture. All right. Let's hit that.
What does this have to do with the diet?
Right. Interlinear. Right. Let's go down to garments. A man shall not put on a woman's garment. The word for garment is simla right here, right? Gonna hit that. Now, what is simla? Outline biblical usage. I'm gonna read it to you. Wrapper, mantle, covering, garments, clothes. See there? Clothes, right there. Okay? Raiment, a cloth. So a man cannot put on a woman's clothes. Now, this is a t-shirt, right? See? It's a t-shirt. Do women wear t-shirts?
What does that have to do with
Unless you want a whole bunch of men happy around here because women walking around with their titties out. Okay?
What are you talking about?
Your camp leaders told you a woman can't wear pants. All right? Some of y'all stand in Detroit, Chicago, anywhere where it's ice cold, unless you want your damn coochie froze up, you better put on some damn pants. But oh no, don't listen to these camp leaders, boy. They, oh no, a woman can't wear pants. Well, where does it say that in the Bible? Because I just showed you that ain't what it's talking about,
back
man.
to the pork.
You've been lied to. All right. When it comes to food, all right. If pork ain't your thing, fine. But I guarantee you, everybody on here posting, at some time in your life, even the brother that said, yeah, I put the coke on the pork and I saw the worms. Then none of the worms come out of no ham that I was eating.
You know what time it is? Yo, you know what time it is? Yo. Wait, keep going, bro. Keep going.
Threw the shit out. It wasn't no worms come out. It boiled the salt out, but it didn't boil the goddamn, it wasn't no worms coming out of there. No, not at all. All right. You could do the beef with the.
Wait, hold on. Let's listen. And yeah, it's the same.
Guarantee you, everybody on here posting
the parasite level,
at some time in your life, even the brother that said, yeah, I put the coke on the pork and I saw the worms. Then none of no worms come out of no ham that I was eating.
You must have some ham that was butchered, slain in your backyard, prepped it and cooked it, fed it a nutritious diet and all of that.
To atone for our sins. Yahushua gave his blood, all right, as an atonement for our sins back then to wipe away sin once and for all. Do you believe that? If you believe that, then you can believe right here. If we go to Acts chapter 10.
Take your time.
All right. Now begin reading.
Go ahead, Ella.
At verse 9. Acts 10, verse 9. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon a housetop to pray about the 6th hour. All right. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open and a certain vessel descending onto him as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What power hath cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. Now, while Peter doubted in himself what that vision he has seen should mean, behold.
Wait. He doubted what the vision should mean. The vision is not to be taken literally. When you keep reading this figurative. Come on, bruh. What are you talking about? This is crazy. All right, go ahead, bro.
Oh, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, would lodge there.
All right, stop there,
while
bro.
Peter, by a holy angel, now, your camp leaders will be try to be slick and try to say that the dream was talking about Cornelius and the three men. It wasn't.
What? Yo, what? Yo, oh man. All right, let me just let him keep going, man.
It was talking about exactly what he said. All right. No, he ain't. It wasn't no illustration of the three men. The Most High was talking about food. All right. The Most High was talking about food.
So why don't we see Peter eating in that passage? If it has to do with food, why don't we see him eating unclean food in that passage?
Period. Now, you ain't got to believe me. All right. You don't. You ain't got to believe nothing I'm saying right now. All right.
I don't.
But trust me, I'm not the one going to burn, or I'm not going to hell. I'm not leading nobody off to nothing, man.
Yo.
All right. I just gave you the scriptures and I showed you why. Now, if that's the case, all y'all zero.
Wait. Where's your scripture about the reason why you can't sacrifice pigs is because their blood is ceremonially unclean? I have not seen that scripture yet. He didn't bring it out yet. I do see where it says that eating their flesh and touching their carcass you should not do. And when it's dead, it's a carcass, obviously. But I didn't see nothing about the blood of the pig. Okay.
Going in also is some damn pork. Okay. If y'all judging me, what are you doing? Let's go to James chapter 2.
Here we go.
James chapter 2.
So unless you're perfect, and this is the excuse that a lot of people make, right? Couple of things going on here, right? When we deal with, matter of fact, let me get scripture. So I'm gonna just talking out my mouth, right? Let me get this real quick. Let me get Matthew chapter 7 real quick, and I want to break this down for y'all, right? I really want to. I'm gonna get two scriptures out of the Tanakh, but I'm gonna deal with this real quick. He about to get something real quick to try and say you can't cast judgment on you. That's not true, right? That's the text does not say you cannot judge righteously. You can judge righteously, right? The thing the thing you're not supposed to do is be a hypocrite. So if I eat pork and I go and tell him he should not eat pork, that's when I don't have the right to judge. Do you understand? I don't have the right to say anything to him because of that. So we're going to see what the text says in regards to righteous judgment. But first, let's get Matthew chapter 7 so I can explain this judgment thing, because if that's the case, since nobody's perfect, nobody should be saying nothing to anybody, but yet the text does not tell you not to exhort, not to rebuke. The text tells you to rebuke. Well, if nobody's perfect, then why is the text encouraging us to rebuke one another in love? This is love. I don't know this man personally. I'm not out here saying all this other stuff that he's doing. I don't know. All I'm saying is this doctrine he's teaching about eating this pork is not aligned with the cultural mandate of the text. It is not fitting with those set of rules. It is not aligned with the paradigm, and it is not solving any problems, but introducing and creating new ones. That's the only beef I have. I don't know nothing else about him, right? You don't have to be perfect to call something what it is. All right, so watch this. Let me get this text real quick. Let me stop you for a second, Elder. All right, real quick, Elder. I'm gonna bring you back, Elder. Bring you back. Just give me 1 second. Let me just get some scripture, Elder. All right, let me beat you to the punch real quick. Not that punch you was, giving out on your Thanksgiving, but the punch meaning the idiom before you get to say. Okay, let me go. All right, Matthew chapter 7, verse 1. Judge not that you be not judged, for with the same judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the same measure you use, it will be measured to you. So if I tell him and condemn him about eating pork, and then I get the urge and I eat pork, then I have every right to be judged, because either I'm eating pork or I will eat pork, and therefore y'all can judge me. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there's a log in your eye, you hypocrite? First, take out the log in your eye, which I've done, because I no longer eat pork. And then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. See that? I don't have the log of eating pork in my eye anymore. I've cut that off. When I was a Christian, I did enjoy pork from time to time. And when I was younger, I used to eat pork rinds too. Thinking about it now, I'm just like, wow, it's jacked my whole system up. How much of a benefit would have been if I had parents that was in the truth, and I would have had a much better diet. But nonetheless, I'm not gonna blame my parents, right? So what I'm saying is, I don't have that log in my eye. But do you see what it says? First, take it out of your eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. I don't have that log in my eye. So now I can look at the speck in your eye and say, brother, you got to get that out. That's how that works. Now, what about judging righteously? Okay, let's go into that text as well. All right, let me stop this real quick. John chapter 7. I'm gonna go here real quick. Right? Verse 23. If on the Sabbath a man receives circumcision so that the law of Moses may be broken, are you angry with me because on the Sabbath I made a man's whole body well? For the record, nothing in Torah says you cannot heal somebody on the Shabbat. None of that is in Torah. But it is in the Talmud. Midrashim speaks about it, but it's not in Torah. Let's keep that in mind. That's why when I ask Christians, did Yeshua break the Sabbath by healing somebody? They say, yeah. I said, show me in written Torah where it's at. And they go look for it, and they don't find it. I said, it's not there. But I can show you in Talmud where it's at. Go to Sephora.org, and I show them exactly where to go to, and they can find that. The whole tractate on the Sabbath, the Sabbath tractate lists what you can and can't do. And you can't heal somebody on the Sabbath, according to the Talmud. The oral tradition that they claim goes back to Moses, but I've already proven that it doesn't go back further than Nehemiah and Ezra during the Persian period. I had a whole discussion with a conservative rabbi about that. And I was nice. When I say nice, I was being humble. I didn't go full power on him. Right? I was just like, pause. I didn't go full on him. I just gave him a little bit. Because seeing me, he thought I was the N-word, right? And he said, oh, this N-word don't got no knowledge. He don't know what he's talking about. I got him into a corner. He was like, well, you know what? Y'all go back and watch that. Go back and watch that. But nonetheless, he says, do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment. You see that? Now, brother, I'm not judging you on no appearance. I'm judging you based on what you're saying, because Yeshua says that what comes out of the mouth from the heart, not what you put in. And he wasn't saying that what you eat, you can eat whatever you want to eat. Yeshua wasn't saying that when he says what goes in the mouth. They were talking about a ceremonial washing of the hands. Again, that's in the Talmud. That's not in the written Torah. That's what he's talking about touching things without being ceremonial clean, which is only restricted to the Levites. But the Pharisees have taken that element and they have spreaded it out and made it a mandate for the common person. But what comes out of the heart. So Yeshua was not saying y'all can eat whatever you want. Matter of fact, let's go to see what he says about this. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23. And let's go to verse 1. And he says, then Yeshua said to the crowds and to his disciples, the scribes and Pharisees sit in Moshe's seat. So do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works they do. So if they're in Moses' seat, what do we have from Moses? The written Torah. Written Torah tells you in Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy chapter 14, do not eat pork. Let's see what it says in Moses' seat. Let's go to that real quick. Leviticus chapter 11. And I'm going to read this. And Yotevafe spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying to them, speak to the people of Israel, saying, these are the living things that you may eat among all the animals on the earth. Whatever parts the hoof and is cloven footed and chews the cud among the animals you may eat. Nevertheless, among those that chew the cud or part the hoof, you shall not eat of these. The camel, because it chews the cud but does not part the hoof, is unclean to you. The rock badger, verse 7, and the pig. Wait, what is this about? Eating, or is this about ceremonially sacrificing something? Oh, the word eat is there. Oh, shoot. Okay, so let's go into the Hebrew. And we'll make this easily accessible. Go into the internet for those who don't know the language. And let's see if this is talking about consumption or food. So you see this nice little word here in Hebrew? Tokelu. Tokelu. Let's take a look at it real quick. The root word is akal, and that means to eat, consume. Nothing about sacrifice. The word zabach is sacrifice. It's not zabach. This is akal, which means to eat, consume an animal, not sacrifice. The pig, because it parts the hoof and is cloven-footed, but it's not true to cub, it is unclean to you. This is what Moses' seat saying. Let's see what else is Moses' seat saying. Deuteronomy chapter 14. Right? Verse 8. Oh, verse 3 first. You shall not eat any abomination. Yo, you see where it says the goat and the gazelle and the roe book and the wild? I'm glad it says that, because when it hit the fan, that's what I'm gonna be hunting right there. Where I live, there's deer all up and down and through my backyard. I'm gonna be hunting them things, because according to the cultural mandate, the set of rules that make up the paradigm says that I can't eat that. It says it right here. When you go to verse 8, it says, and the pig, because it parts the hoof, but does not chew the cud, is unclean for you. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. The text is very clear. There's no mistake. But over time, guess what? There was Israelites that were saying, oh, we can eat this and we can eat that. Now, remember what Yeshua said. He said that do what the Pharisees and scribes tell you to do while they sit in the seat of Moses. And this is one of the things that's in the seat of Moses is don't not eat the flesh or touch the carcass of pigs. That's what it says. Yeshua says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, I did not come to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill them. He didn't come to destroy that. He's not going to tell you anything that's against that. So right there, those two right there, you're already boxed in. I gave you Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14. You're already boxed in. But you know what? There were some Israelites that said, you know what? We can't eat pig. So let's see what Yah says about those Israelites. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 65 real quick. Isaiah chapter 65. All right, let's see. First one. I was ready to be sought by those who did not ask me. I was ready to be found by those who did not seek me. This is Yah speaking. I said, here I am, to a nation that was not called by my name. I spread up my hands all the day to a rebellious people who walk in a way that is not good, following their own devices. Okay, let's keep going. A people who provoke me to my face continually, sacrifice it in gardens, and making offerings on bricks, who sit in the tombs and spend their night in secret places, who eat pig's flesh, and broth of tainted meat is in their vessels, who say, keep to yourself, do not come to me, for I am too holy for you. You see that? Rebellious people who don't even seek Yah, who walk in a way that is not good, following their own devices to provoke him to his face continuously by eating pig's flesh. I didn't write this. Elder. But if you go into the next chapter, this is your end time, right? I'm gonna make this quick. This is your end time. You got to deal with this. Watch this. I'm going to go here, right? Watch this. Verse 3. And then I'm going to jump down to the other verse. I made it very quick so that you can see where it's at in verse 3. He who slaughters an ox is like one who kills a man. He who sacrifices a lamb, like one who breaks a dog's neck. He who presents a grain offering, like one who offers pig's blood. You see that? So killing a man, breaking a dog's neck, these are things that are taboo that you should not do in the culture. Also, pig's blood. So he was right when he said that pig's blood is tainted and an abomination, but so is the flesh. So is its carcass when it's dead. But let's keep going. Going down to verse 17. And this is end time. Start verse 15. For behold, Yahweh will come in fire, and his chariots like the whirlwind, to render his anger and fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire will Yahweh enter into judgment, and by his sword with all flesh, and those slain by Yahweh will be many. This has not happened yet. Those who sanctify and purify themselves to go into the gardens, and that's another conversation altogether to see what that context is. Following one in the midst, eating pig's flesh, and the abomination and mice shall come to an end together, declares Yahweh. Now, like again, this is the end time, eschatology, in the future. So it don't matter if you say, well, in the New Testament it says this. I'm gonna get to that 1 second. In the end time, y'all coming into judgment, y'all who's eating pig's flesh, the abomination, and mice. Okay. All right, I thought just that was Old Testament that they call Old Testament. All right, so let's go back to New Testament, right? Let me go to New Testament real quick, right? We want to see if the beloved Paul himself, who was a Jew, if he was breaking Moses' law, after Yeshua died, he said, oh, Yeshua died, his blood atoned for our sins and all this other stuff, right? Well, let's see if the mighty apostle Paul, if he still kept the law. And let's see if he told others, Jews, not to keep the law, because this brother proclaims to be an Israelite. So we're not talking about you being a Gentile, brother. We're talking about you being an Israelite, right? And then we're going to go into that Peter thing you picked up in Acts 10, and we're going to see if that's talking about some unclean foods that Peter's eating in that chapter. We're going to get to that in a second. We're going to hold that. But first, let's see if your beloved Paul, let's see if Paul himself, let's see if he's a hypocrite, right? Let me get back to scripture, all right? Go to Acts chapter 20. We're going to get to this real quick. It's crazy that I got to be doing this for an Israelite. An Israelite? Why do I have to do this for an Israelite? That's the sad part. Acts chapter 21, verse 17. When we had come to Jerusalem, the brothers received us gladly. On the following day, Paul went in with us to James, and all the elders were present. After greeting them, he related one by one the things that Elohim had done amongst the Goyim through his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified Elohim. And they said to him, you see, how many thousands there are amongst the Yahudim of those who have believed. These were believing Yahudim. These were not the Jews that did not believe. Christians like to say all the time, oh, Paul says I become all things to all men. How can you become a believer to a believer? Okay, I just want to give context. Let's keep going. And they said to him, you see how many of the thousands there are among the Jews who believed? They are all zealous for the law. Wait, I thought Yahushua died already. I thought his blood was spilled and he atoned for sins. But why is James not correcting these Jews who are zealous for the law? It's to you, Elder. I'm gonna let that sit. Okay, let me keep going. And they have been told about you that you teach all the Jews who are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses. You know, the Pharisees and Sadducees, Yeshua said they sit in the seat of Moses, so what they tell you to do, you do it. Telling them not to circumcise their children or walk according to our customs. Wait, what's one of the customs? Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14, not eating the pig's flesh or touching his carcass. So let's see what Paul says. What then is to be done? They will certainly hear that you have come. Do therefore what we tell you. We have 4 men who are under a vow. Take these men and purify yourself along with them and pay their expenses so that they may shave their heads. The Nazarite vow. Thus all will know that there is nothing in what they have been told about you, but that you yourself live in observance of the law. Paul, you got to rebuke him to his face. Let's see what verse 26 says. Right? Matter of fact, no, I'm going to leave that. Verse 26. Then Paul took the men. No, Paul rebuked James. Paul said, we can eat whatever we want. And then people will get the scripture where it says not to eat meat. And then one eats vegetables and one eats vegetables is weak. That's another context. I'm not even getting into that. I'm just going to lay this foundation first. And if somebody wants to take me on who's an Israelite who said you can eat pork now, let's do it. And I'll get to those scriptures. But Paul took heed. And Paul did what was told with him because he lives in observance of the law. Let's go to Corinthians. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter, I think it's chapter 7, if I'm not mistaken. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. I'm going to jump down. Verse 17. Only let the person lead the life that Adonai has assigned to him, to which Elohim has called him. This is my rule in all of the churches. Was anyone at the time of his call already circumcised? Let him not seek to remove the marks of circumcision. That means if you're a Jew and you're keeping the law of Moses and your circumcision is there to remind you of the covenant that your forefathers made with the patron deity, don't seek to remove that. See, Paul was not teaching the Jews amongst the Gentiles to live as Gentiles and eat whatever you want and don't get circumcised. Paul was not saying that. When Paul gives these teachings, he's talking to Gentiles. He is not admonishing the Jews who are believers amongst the Gentiles to live like Gentiles because he himself lives in observance of the law. Let's keep reading. He says, was anyone at the time of his call uncircumcised? Let him not seek circumcision. For neither, because that's the mark of the Jews. Circumcision for Gentiles is optional only if they choose to reside amongst Israel and keep the Passover, according to Exodus chapter 12. For neither circumcision counts for anything, nor uncircumcision, which is true. But what? But keeping the commandments of God. So if you're circumcised and you've received commandments of Yeshua, right? Commandments of Yahweh, and they're giving you commandments, you keep them because Yeshua is only giving commandments in alignment with Yahweh. Nothing against that. So those are the commandments of God. What we read, we see that word commandments there in Torah. We got commandments. You keep that, and that is important. Paul was not teaching you as a Jew or self-professed Israelite, whatever you want to call yourself. If that's what you identify with, then you cannot eat no pork, bruh. That's the end of that. Let's get to Acts chapter 10 and close this out real quick, man. And there's tons of other scriptures to go to as well. But I'm gonna stop here at 10. And we got to move on, man. We spend a lot of time on this. We're going to move on, man. It's crazy. All right. Now watch this. Watch this. The next day, as they were on their journey approaching the city, Peter went up on the housetop about the 6th hour to pray, and he became hungry and wanted something to eat. Now, this is what the text said. He wanted something to eat, right? No, we're going to see if he ate something unclean. Let's keep going. But while they were preparing it, he fell into a trance. Now, you tell me those Jews that was preparing food that was with Peter, that they was making some swine, bruh. They was making some ham hocks. They were glazing in Coca-Cola, marinating it for 2 days. Let's keep going. And he saw the heavens open and something like a great sheet descending, being let down by its 4 corners upon the earth. In it were all kinds of animals and reptiles and birds of the air. And there came a voice to him, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." But Peter said, "By no means, Adonai, for Kephas. No means Adonai, for I have not eaten anything that is common or unclean." And the voice came to him again a second time. "What Elohim has made clean, do not call common." This happened 3 times, and the thing was taken up at once to heaven. Shemayim, right? Now, but Kephas was inwardly perplexed as to what the vision that he had seen might mean. You see that? Not that he knew that this was literally the revelation he was being given to eat things that were unclean. But look what happens next. The men who were sent by Cornelius, having made inquiry for Simon's house, stood at the gate and called out to ask whether Simon, who was called Peter or Kephas, was lodging there. And while Kephas was pondering the vision, the Spirit said to him, "Behold, 3 men are looking for you. Rise and go down and accompany them without hesitation, for I have sent them." And Peter went down to the men and said, "I am the one you are looking for. What is the reason you are coming?" And they said, "Cornelius, a centurion, an upright and God-fearing man who is well spoken of by the whole Jewish nation, was directed by a holy angel to send for you to come to his house and to hear what you have to say." So he invited him in to be his guest. The next day he rose and went away with them, and some of the brothers from Joppa accompanied him. And on the following day they entered Caesarea. Cornelius was expecting them and had called together his relatives and close friends. When Peter entered, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. But Peter lifted him up, saying, "Stand, man, right? I am too am a man." And as he walked with him, he went in and found many persons gathered. And he said to them, watch this, verse 28. "You yourselves know how unlawful it is for a Jew to associate with or visit anyone of another nation. But Elohim has shown me that you see that? He has shown me." So he was pondering all this time about this vision. And at some point, he was shown that I should not call any person common or unclean. So when I was sent for, you see that? I came without objection. So you got the revelation. I asked then why you sent for me. That's what's going on there. Now, do we see anything there? It says, "He is lodging in the house of Simon, a tanner by sea. So I sent for you at once, and you have been kind enough to come. Now, therefore, we all here in the presence of God to hear what you have commanded." Then he goes into all this stuff he's talking. Then all of this stuff happens, right? And they ask him to remain for some days. Now, here's the thing. Nothing in here says that Peter or Kephas ate anything that was unclean. Where's that at in here? He said he was shown that he should not be with Gentiles because they were common or unclean. That's what was believed. But he was told that he should not call them common or unclean. Why? Because Yah has done a work with the Gentiles. That's another conversation altogether. But according to this text, we see it's very clear that this is what they were referring to. They were not referring to eating unclean foods. It's not here. So there's no way you can get around this. Shout out to Dominic Duolos. Shout out to Get Wise in the building. Shout out to who else did I see in here? Set Apart Girl, shalom. Antoinette Clark, shalom. Seeking the Truth Ministry, shalom. Who else? Ice Shoe Coach, shalom. Ace H, shalom. Let me see. Yahoo Set Ben Yisrael, shalom King. Carleon Moore, shalom. Let's see who else. Let me see. If you want to shout out, just make a comment. Malka Bat Yisrael, shalom. Booyakasha, shalom. Let me see. Chastity Collins, shalom. Ben Robinson, shalom. Lynn, shalom. Truth, more truth, shalom. Let me see. Is that everybody? I think I got everybody for now. Yeah, we just dealing with this text, man. My brother Bruce Bitter in the building. Shalom, Bruce Bitter. Okay. All right. So we're gonna transcend from this. Y'all can go and watch the rest because he makes a couple more videos about it. But this is dead in the water. There's no way you can identify as an Israelite and break the cultural mandate, which is a paradigm designed to solve problems based on a set of rules, to say we can now eat pork because Yahushua died and his blood atoned, but yet we see New Testament believers of Yahushua living in observance of the law and being zealous of the law after he's dead. Okay. All right. Shout out to Lewi, Ibn Yehuda, Shalom, Othniel, Israel, Shalom, King, Gene, Shalom. All right, I'm gonna pass this by. We done with that. We done with that. All right, moving on. There's been a recent discovery that was brought to my knowledge, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. All right, let me share this real quick. Let me pull it up. And I'm going to share it. Let me pull it up. If I may not be able to pull it up like that. All right. I think I could pull it up this way. Let me pull it up for you. All right. Here it is. I'm just going to pull up the printout I made of it because I have ad blocker and this site doesn't like ad blocker. All right. Let me zoom in and I want to go into this real quick. Watch this. This is going to turn heads. All right. You see this title and this introduction? In first, archaeologists extract DNA of ancient Israelites. A rare First Temple period family burial opens the door to genetic studies on the true origin of the ancient Israelites and their links to modern Jewish populations. Now, here's what we're dealing with, family, right? Do you think, when we read this, for those of you who are not aware of this, do you think we're going to find E1B1A, E1B1B? Do you think we're going to find R1A? Do you think we're going to find J1 and J2? What do you think we're going to find? Now, I'm going to point out some things as I read this. And I'm going to bring up another article, which is really good, right, in response to this. But let's see. We're going to transverse to this. All right? We're going to transverse to this. There's a lot of things here that we got to deal with. But we're going to transverse to this. All right? Here we go. All right. Asantawa said the screen is blurry. That might be your restricted bandwidth via whatever source you're getting your internet from, whether it's cellular or whether it's your Wi-Fi at home. But it looks clear to me. I don't know. Is the screen okay? Hit one of the screen is okay. And you're right, Kwaku. It might be the lower resolution to account for the restricted bandwidth, right? Now, we're going to read this. Let's read this, right? This was published October 9th, all right? Most of my data in regards to the subject matter, from what I'm aware of, is up to June, July of 2023. So this was new to me when somebody presented it to me. I just never presented it here on the channel yet, right? Now, let's go in. Let's go down. Let's go down. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So Kiryat Yearim, right, which is also it's in the Bible. This site is not from Jerusalem, not far from Jerusalem, so the geographical location is correct, right? This is the biblical site that we see in Scripture. We find it in Judges, we find it in Joshua, we find it in First Chronicles, we find it in Samuel, right? So this is the actual location, right? That's biblical, right? This thing's covering. For the first time, ancient DNA has been recovered from blah, 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 bodies of ancient Israelites living in the First Temple period. Haaretz has learned, right? This achievement, a holy grail in the study of lost civilizations, was enabled following the discovery near Jerusalem of a rare family tomb dating to the Iron Age. So we have a geographical location that is cited in the scriptures, right? In the Tanakh, we have the time period, the Iron Age period, which aligns too. So we have one is the site, which is the location is right. Two, the timeline, right? Or the time period is right. Let's keep going. So far, the collaboration of archaeologists and Genesis has been able to extract genetic material from two individuals, producing partial information, which is a tiny sample indeed, but it promises to pave the way for further research on long-standing questions about the origins of the ancient Israelites. Their links to earlier populations living in the Levant, as well as some modern-day Jewish people. Preliminary, that's the key word, preliminary results, which means this is not published. This has not been peer-reviewed. This might even have errors before the final report is done. But it's preliminary now. All right. The reason why HRS is reporting on this is because they want to be the first to press with it. Let's keep going. Preliminary results from an excavation and the DNA study were expected to be presented at a conference about new archaeological discoveries in Jerusalem and its environs on Wednesday, and HRS has obtained an advanced copy of the research paper, right? The conference has since been delayed due to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Gaza. So this was supposed to be presented, a paper, a research paper now, was supposed to be presented at a conference for peer review before being published, okay? So this is just a preliminary research paper. Keep that in mind, but let's keep going, okay? This story begins in 2018 when the Theft Prevention Unit of the Israel Antiquities Authority discovered a tomb in the village of Abu Ghosh, which is right next to the biblical settlement of Kiryat Yearim, some 15 kilometers west of Jerusalem. The tomb had been badly damaged, first by construction and then by looting, so the archaeologists conducted a hurried salvage excavation. That's another thing. This construction damage and looting and a hurried salvage excavation. All those things are important, and these are things that's going to be discussed when there's a peer review. Although only a fraction of the tomb has survived, the researchers uncovered some 150 pottery vessels, including bowls, jars, and lamps, as well as jumbled skeletal remains of at least 10 individuals. The archaeologists report, here it is now, material culture, which would involve pottery. So the pottery looking at is this pottery will be called Canaanite wares, or is it Yehudim or Jerusalem or Judean wares? That's important as well. So we're looking at a tomb. We have the location correct. We have the timeline or date correct. Now we're looking at the material, because there's been material that has been assigned to be Judean pottery and Israelite pottery and Canaanite pottery. We have this information. We know that. So we have to look at this as well, because the material culture is another means of triangulating whether or not what we're about to see in regards to the DNA is accurate, that this is actually an Israelite family funerary site. That's very important, right? So I'm gonna leave that homework for y'all in regards to the pottery. I've actually talked about this in depth on this channel in the past. I did a whole lecture on it as well. I even talked about pottery. But we're gonna keep moving from there, right? Those interred in the tomb included 6 adults, 3 men and 3 women, and 4 children, including 2 babies, 1 infant, and an adolescent. This is consistent with the high mortality rate of children in ancient times, the researchers note. Based on the pottery typology used in the funerary offerings, it seems that the tomb was used for a prolonged period around 750 to 650 BCE, placing in the late Iron Age or late First Temple period according to biblical chronology. The tomb is an important find in its own right, given that burials from this period are rare. That's important, and tend to be from slightly later times, generally closer to the fall of Jerusalem and the first temple to the Babylonians in 586 BCE, says Israel Frankenstein, an archaeologist at Tel Aviv University and the University of Haifa. So watch. The timeline is good too, 750 to 650 BCE. I want you to do research on those pottery used in the funerary offerings. That is important. Okay. So I'm going to jump down through most of this. You can go back and read. I'll put the link in the chat. You can read it. All right. It says here, the technique of extracting genetic material from ancient bones, teeth, and other organic remains began to emerge over 20 years ago and has since reached such sophistication that researchers are even divining some information on creatures that lived over 1 million years ago. It is rare for bones to be preserved well enough to provide any genetic material at all, yet the ability to extract and sequence genetic material from ancient remains has given researchers major insights into the origins of migrations and history of human populations, as well as prehistoric hominins, animals, and plants. But the big question remains when it comes to the genetic history of the Jewish people. Looking far into the past, inquisitive minds have long asked, who are the ancient Hebrews, the inhabitants of the biblical kingdoms of Judah and Israel in the Iron Age, 12th to 6th century BCE? From which population did they descend, and how were they connected to their neighbors, the Philistines, Edomites, Moabites, Ammonites, and so on? Looking at the present, we wonder what is the genetic link between the First Temple period Israelites and today's Jews, and which other populations intermingled with them over millennia of exile, wanderings, and persecutions. And then there is the big mystery surrounding the origin of modern Jewish populations or groups, particularly of Europe's Ashkenazi population, whose communities first emerged in the Rhineland at the height of the Middle Ages. What is their ancestral connection to the Israelites of yore? I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to keep scrolling down. All right, so we could get to scientists have found some indirect evidence pertaining to the genetic origin of the Israelites. More about this later by looking at the DNA of modern Jews as well as Bronze Age Canaanites who preceded the formation of the ancient Israelite identity. But direct access to ancient Israelite DNA and all the information contained therein has so far been elusive to researchers. There are several reasons for this. Firstly, well-preserved DNA is harder to find in the hot Middle Eastern climates. But this technical issue was partly overcome by a 2015 discovery of the petrous bone, a part of the skull located behind the ear, contains a much higher concentration of DNA than other bones, meaning that at least some genetic material may survive in it. That game-changing revelation allows scientists to shed light on everything from the genetic history of the earliest Neolithic farmers in Anatolia to the origin of the Philistines, the biblical enemies of the Israelites, right? But not much headway had been made on the ancient Hebrews. Let's keep going. Okay, let's keep going. Wait. What? I'm going to read this. This is important. That has been partly because of the rarity of ancient Hebrew graves and largely because in Judaism, excavating or disturbing graves is a big taboo. Particularly in Israel, human remains are not considered antiquities by law, and archaeologists who find ancient graves are often pressured by ultra-Orthodox groups to quickly rebury any bones they unearth. I did a whole lecture on exhumation of skeletal remains in ancient Israel, right? I mentioned all of this in it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's try and get to this DNA, right? Let's keep going. I'm gonna scroll down. Keep going. Scroll down, right? The two sample individuals were one male and one female. The conference paper only discusses data from the Y chromosome and mitochondrial DNA, sections of the genome that are inherited only from the father and mother, respectively. Data gleaned from the rest of the genome will be provided in an upcoming scientific publication. This is only partial data with a more detailed paper coming in the future. Sampling DNA from ancient Israelites is exciting as it should make it possible to test how they are related genetically to previous groups, to contemporary non-Israelite groups, and to people living today. Let's keep going. Okay, watch this. The highlight of the very partial results is that the Y chromosome in the man belongs to the J2 haplogroup, a group of closely related DNA sequences that is believed to have originated in the Caucasus or Eastern Anatolia, a vast area including modern-day Eastern Turkey, Northwest Iran, Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, hopefully I'm saying that right, and southern Russia. This is important because, as mentioned, researchers have already mapped the DNA of ancient Canaanites, showing that they had a strong ancestral connection to modern-day Jewish and Arab populations. That research, published in Cell in 2020, also showed that the Canaanites in the Middle and Late Bronze Age, before the emergence of the Israelite identity, descended from a mix of Neolithic inhabitants of the Levant and a group that migrated from the Caucasus or Eastern Anatolia. This migration was already in motion in early Bronze Age around 2900, 2500 BCE, and is also visible archaeologically with pottery from this period exhibiting strong influences for Anatolia and the Caucasus. It continued in the Middle Bronze Age, as seen in the study of ancient DNA of individuals from Megiddo and other places, and is evident in the mention in the historical texts of Canaanite officials in the late Bronze Age with names that are not Semitic and originate in the northeastern Middle East, Finkelstein says. All right. While it's too early to draw conclusions based on limited data from a single Israelite sample. Now, in regards to genetics, this is important. For you to take a sample from one individual and say this is representative of all the individuals, that's irresponsible. And that is something that geneticists and archaeologists do not do, right? It is of note that the first sample period in an individual from Kiryat Yearim still carried the same genetic variations that the Canaanites displayed centuries earlier, and which they in turn had inherited from their Caucasian newcomers. As limited as it is, we cannot ignore the piece of evidence that there is a connection between the genetic background of this person at Kiryat Yearim in the first millennium BCE and the Canaanites in the second millennium BCE, Finkelstein says. It is not a complete surprise because we have evidence from other lines of inquiry, but is another small piece of evidence showing that the genetic pool is the same. Of course, at this time, we cannot say if this is representative of the entire population. So hold on for that. That's what I'm saying. Read these papers. Very clear. Look at the words and the phraseology of the various archaeologists and geneticists that they're interviewing, because they're letting you know, do not jump to conclusions yet. If researchers gather more data confirming that most Israelites indeed share this ancestry with the Canaanites, it would support something that experts have strongly suspected for a long time, that in fact the ancient Hebrews descended from the Canaanites. All right. Now let me see what else I want to end off with. This is deep, right? Much more data and research are needed to understand how significant these results are, whether they truly represent the ancestry of the region's population at that time, and what they mean for our understanding of the broader story of the emergence of ancient Israel. Okay? Again, don't jump to conclusions, but I'm going to read this for y'all. Okay? I'm going to read this for y'all. All right? Let me zoom in. Hold your horses. I know some of you right now, y'all saying, oh, J2, I'm E1B1A, E1B1B. I ain't no Israelite then, so I'm going to go and give it all up. And okay, cool. If you decide you want to do that, and if that was what the strength of your investment in this culture was predicated on, then by all means, if you choose you need to do that, that's fine. But I'm telling you, and they're telling you, do not jump to conclusions just yet. This has been written by Raphael Falk from the Department of Genetics, Program for History and Philosophy of Science from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Genetic markers cannot determine Jewish descent. I want to make sure y'all read this article and keep this in mind no matter what they find. This is important. Humans differentiate, classify, and discriminate. Social interaction is a basic property of human Darwinian evolution. Presumably inherent differential physical as well as behavioral properties have always been criteria for identifying friend or foe. Yet biological determinism is a relatively modern term, and scientific racism is, oddly enough, largely a consequence or a product of the Age of Enlightenment and the establishment of the notion of human equality. In recent decades, ever-increasing efforts and ingenuity were invested in identifying biblical Israelite genotypic common denominators by analyzing an assortment of phenotypes like facial patterns, blood types, diseases, DNA sequences, and more. It becomes overwhelmingly clear that although Jews maintain detectable vertical genetic continuity along generations of social, religious, and cultural relationship, also intensive horizontal genetic relations were maintained both between Jewish communities and with Gentiles surrounding. Thus, in spite of considerable consanguinity, there is no Jewish genotype to identify. And when you read this article, they break it all down to you. Now, I'm going to scroll down and just get to the summary of everything, right? Because when you look at this, when it comes to Jews, right? Jews, they had their DNA sequenced, and some Jews are R1A, especially those who relate to the Levite is R1A. You have J1, J2, and then you have others as well, like what's his name? Albert Einstein, who was a Jew, but you know what Albert Einstein's haplogroup was? Somebody put that in. Somebody put that in the chat. Look up or Google real quick Albert Einstein's genetic code. Put his haplogroup in there. Put his haplogroup in there. Put his haplogroup in there. Type in Albert Einstein haplogroup. E1B1B. What? And he was a Jew? What? Ain't Einstein supposed to be a Jewish name? He was E1B1 what? Y'all put E1B1A. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's pull it up. Albert Einstein. Let's bring it up. Albert Einstein. I'm just going to pick him up real quick. Let's go to Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, you are E1, B1, B1, B2, a cluster of SNP PF1952, formerly known as EZ830-B or Jewish cluster. His great-grandfather was tested and belongs to EM35, which is E1B1, E1B1B1. There's no A. I don't know say E1B1A. It's E1B1B. That's Albert Einstein. How can you be E1, B1, J1, J2, and R1A, and all those groups be Jews? How can you? This is why you can't use the genotype to determine descent. This is important. This is a huge controversial matter, right? I touched on this on a lecture I did years ago. I have a new one coming up that I'm preparing that I wanted to do this year, but I'm gonna have to do it next year, where I'm gonna factor all this data in. All of it. All of it. Okay. So let's go in. Listen, we don't run from this stuff, man. We deal with it. We deal with all this stuff. You already know how we get down at KHM. We don't run from nothing. Let's keep going down. And again, y'all can check out this article yourself. You can Google it and download it, or you can go to the Patreon. It's there, right? Excellent article, though. Excellent article. But let's keep going. Let me get to the final part, Ricky. All right, I think it's right here. Jews were recognized over the ages as the people of a distinct religion or as a people with unique socio-cultural bonds in various contexts and at different times. But it was claimed that what ultimately maintained the Jews' identity were their genealogical, I think it's right here, linkage. Jews were perceived as the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, or Jacob, the three patriarchs, not only spiritually, but primarily biologically. Obviously, what kept Jews' identity were their language, culture, tradition, and religion. Thus, whatever their biological hereditary kinships, both the transgenerational vertical and the intra-generation horizontal relationships are secondary consequences. However, the increasing reliance on scientific reductionism and biological thinking of the last 2 centuries eventually culminated in turning the evidence of DNA sequences into the essence of the characterization of Jewishness rather than its consequence. That statement right there speaks millions. Still, in spite of repeated efforts, there is no agreed upon criterion to identify Jews. You hear that? And samples examined for this for the distribution of biological or molecular markers all depend on the preconceived biases of the investigators. Races, it is assumed, may differ in inherent properties that are evaluated differently, but races are not biological meaningful classification entities? And if so, why is racism a bad property? The answer must be because it provides socio-cultural justifications for discrimination on the basis of presumed and irrelevant biological properties. DNA genotypes cannot be used to define what a Jew is. It can't be, because somebody's lying. See, this is why I don't play the DNA game. We did not sample anything from Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob. We have no samples for Moses, no samples for Aaron. Whether or not they exist or not, we have no samples from them. Joseph, no samples. Judah, no samples. Zebulon, Manasseh, Ephraim, no samples. Asher, Benjamin, Levi, no samples from any of them. Benjamin, we don't have any samples from them. None. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have none. Okay? So we have no samples from them. How can somebody today say, oh, I descend from them? We don't know that. They can be eponymous ancestors, or they can be literal ancestors. Either way, we don't have DNA from them. Now, what we can get is those skeletal remains and examine them and see how many of those samples we can get. We need a large sample size from different sites where the timeline matches, the geography matches, the material culture matches, everything matches. Gather it from all those different sites and then look at it as a group and say, okay, look, is there diversity amongst these Israelites, or is it a singularity in regards to the Y chromosomal DNA? And what you'll read from the article is the maternal DNA, the women, the mitochondrial DNA from the women, they differed amongst each other. It wasn't consistent. This is a huge rabbit hole to go down, but I'm going to reserve that for a future lecture where we can dive into that. I just want to bring this forth to the community so that y'all are aware. This is what we have knocking at the door. How do you respond to this? You got to understand how this DNA game works and what groups are involved in, the preconceived biases that's involved in this, and who's funding it, and all this other stuff. This is important. We'll get behind all of that. But if this right here, you automatically jump to conclusion, which the article that we just read from Harbinger tells you, don't jump to conclusions, that one single sample of data from an individual, one male, that J2 is definitive. If somebody says something like that, they don't know how to do research and they're not academic. I just wanted to bring it to y'all first if y'all didn't hear it from anybody in this community before, but you got it first from me. And we're not running from that. And yes, Kwaku, that's the next thing we're going to deal with. We're going to do an update to that lecture. All right. It's getting hot and heavy in here. Woo. It's getting hot. Man, I got to put a tank top on soon. We're talking about a lot of stuff out there. Fortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, y'all still here. Actually, the numbers are increasing. So y'all must be interested in this stuff. Okay. All right. I'm glad I covered those two items. And again, it took me about 2 hours, 15 minutes to deal with both items, but it's okay. It's a lot of information. Try to break it down. Try to be as animated as possible to keep your interest, right? Let me move on before we close out. I'm gonna do a quick Q&A before we close out, but I got another 15 minutes. Let me go to my next items I want to deal with. All right. So recently, I have been dealing with prepping, right? And those of you who know what prepping is, emergency preparedness and planning and stockpiling, etc., in the event that danger comes our way, anarchy comes our way, etc. The question is, are we prepared? Okay. Been stocking up on MREs. I don't know what MRE is. It is food in which water has been pulled away from it and it has been dehydrated and packaged, and it has a long shelf life depending on where you store it and how you store it, right? MRE is going to be very important when there's a food shortage and you can't go to the grocery store and buy food, let alone Y'all should already be growing your own food. No excuse for not being able to grow your own food. You should have several of these around the house, and if you have the luxury of having a front yard, backyard, you should be having things to eat in your front yard or your backyard. And if you don't have any of that, then you should have a guide to teach you how to forage, how to identify what's edible and what's inedible in your environments and environments not far from you. All that is important. And you should have those MREs, be growing your foods, right? And have that as a variety. So if ish hits the fan, so they call it SHTF planning, right? So if ish hits the fan, are you stockpiling the stuff? MREs, growing your own food, very important, right? So I've been focusing on that, stockpiling that. Also, ammo. Right? Some of y'all have weapons for home defense. You should be stockpiling ammo as well, because you never know if you have to go hunt, or you never know if you have to defend your life, your liberty, your property, or those who you are accountable to, which is your family. You should be stockpiling them, right? That's very important. Seeing how everything is playing out, the writing on the wall, right? This is where we need to be at right now as well. We should be prepping right now. Also, you should have solar panel and batteries to capture the conserved energy via your solar panel. So you should transition away from using these lines that you have in your community, right, for electricity, and transition to solar power. Everything you should have some element of solar power with it, or connected to it, or some means so you can get energy from the battery stored that's pulling in that UV light, that solar power. That's very important, right? I want to make sure I mention that. Another thing is you should all have bug out bags. That should have all the things you need in it. The MREs I mentioned, ammo if you need to have ammo, your weapon to protect yourself. You should have a means of filtering water. You should have poncho in there. You should have a med pack in there. All these things should be in your bug out bag. So if something happens, you can grab it and go. That's very important, right? What I like to add to my things is I have silver and I have gold, minted, sealed, that I can use to barter with. If you want a good site to know where to get those items at, let me get it for you. I'll drop that link in there for you. All right, and this is where I buy my silver and gold from, because you're going to need a medium of exchange, and when the dollar tanks, this is going to be it. Right? There you go. All right? Now, something else I want to reveal to y'all in my research of looking for items. One important thing is water. If you are not near a water source, how are you going to get water? You cannot live more than 3 days without any water. You will die of dehydration. So therefore, what if you're not near a water source, but you need water to sustain yourself and your family? How do you get it? Well, I'm going to introduce you to some technology that exists that can pull water out of thin air. Pull it from thin air, filter it so you can drink the water. And you can even use it in the desert. All right. Being wise, no, I have not. Please send whatever you have to me. I have not. All right. Oh, yeah. You know how we do it, big dog. We're all about autonomy. This is why you need these items. This is why you need to be prepping. You need to learn how to tactically defend yourself. If it's you and a bunch of your buddies, to the guys out there, and y'all are CCWs, you should know how to clear a room. You should know how to responsibly use that weapon that you have on your person at all times. You should know what type of ammo to use for self-defense. Anything related to hollow points, no full metal jackets. You should have the appropriate weapon for the appropriate job, whether that's hunting or self-defense and protection. You should also know how to deal with an active shooter situation. A lot of people don't know how to deal with an active shooter situation. How do you defend yourself in that situation? How do you escape in that situation? How do you keep others safe in that situation? You need to know how to move and navigate at night. A lot of things to consider. But let's get to the water. I want to show you some information in regards to the water, right? And you always got to think that you may not always be stationary. When things happen, you may have to move. Scripture says that when you're persecuted in one city, flee to the next. You're going to have to be on the move. So you can't always think, oh, I could be stationary. I could buy this land. You may not be able to stay on that land. You're going to have to move. So you have to always think mobility. What are the essential items that I can take with me that enables me to be mobile? Like I said, that's why you got to learn to forage and have items that can take water from the air so you could drink it on the go without having to go to a water source. Because when it hit the fan, the water source is where most people are going to be at. And in those situations, you want to avoid people as much as possible, unless it's people that you know and trust. If it's not them or family, avoid them during those situations because they will turn on you. When you're in survival mode, they will turn on you. Right? So these systems that exist, we can use technology now that allows us to be mobile with the essential items that we need to protect ourselves when emergencies occur. We can suffer an invasion. Like I said, law can break down, anarchy can happen in the streets. We saw some of the stuff happen when the coronavirus was out here. Now Corona, I don't know where she went. I don't see nobody dropping like dead like flies and stuff. I mean, people are getting it just like the flu and they're alive. There should be a whole bunch of dead bodies in the street right now. Oh, a lot of people were was mass vaccinated. What about the people who wasn't vaccinated? Oh, herd immunity. Well, they should be dying. Those of you who are unvaccinated should be dead. At KHM, we helped almost 200 people avoid immunization on the basis that it's a violation of your constitutional rights for it to be mandated. That's why we're not against vaccination. If you got vaccinated, good for you. I'm not against that vaccination. It's just not for me. And I choose to exercise my constitutional right to not get vaccinated or inoculated. And the federal government, by means of the executive branch, cannot mandate that by law. We have all that in our letter that we offer to the community. So if any of you out there are being told in 2023 that you still have to get vaccinated going to 2024, holler at us. Email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. You'll see us scrolling down at the bottom, and we'll hook you up. Educate you and hook you up. So technology now has availed us to be able to protect ourselves, preserve ourselves, and be able to be mobile and portable with the things that we have. You must be resourceful. You must have a skill set. All these things will come in handy because you never know when you have to barter a skill in order to survive a situation. You have to have invaluable skills. So if you get caught and they threaten to kill you, you can say, look, I see that you guys don't have A, B, and C. I have that skill. And if you kill me, that's one less person you have contributed to what you need as a community to survive. You have to have means to barter with, not just resources, because you may be stripped of all of that. You are the resource. Learn how this technology works. Let me show you something, right? Everybody should have this just in case it shit the fan and you can't get no more water. MREs and growing your own foods with the solar power, if you need electricity to power these things, right? Or your backyard, front yard, or whatever the case may be, is great. Learn how to forage. That's great. Getting water is very important. This is how you do it. Let me show it to you, right? This is technology that a lot of y'all are probably not aware of, but I'm going to put you onto it, right? And you should start getting these things and put it in your house and testing them out and learning how it works. So if you have the knowledge of it, the reverse engineering knowledge of how the system works, then when you get in a situation and you have to make a proposal so that your life is not taken, you can say, hey, I know how the technology works to be able to pull water from out of the air so you don't have to go to places where there's water and have conflicts. Let me give you the blueprint. It's in here. And you lay it down to them. Like, oh, shoot.
Wow.
Yeah. Here it is. Let me show it to y'all. All right. You have two sets of options. The first one is the option that pulls water, condensation from out of the air, filters it, and gives you up to 2.5 gallons of water. And the other option is what's called a life straw, which means that if there's dirty water, you can put the straw to the water, has a filtration system inside, and you can drink straight from that dirty water without having to boil the water, usually looking for utensils and paints and all types to boil the water. You ain't got to do none of that. You can drink it straight. So let me show you the first one, right? Is this system here called Spout. Clean drinking water effortlessly. Okay? It's called Spout. Right? Spout is a countertop device that condenses moisture in the air to create up to 1.5 gallons of fresh, pure, alkaline drinking water every day. Just plug it in and witness water happen. This ain't no Brita of times past. You just sit it somewhere and it'll make water for you. See this? Purify, ease, sustainability, cost, portability, and taste. The tap water can be filled with microbes. I don't drink tap water. Hopefully y'all don't either. And if you have to drink tap water, get a filter and put it on that faucet. Do not drink tap water. Microbes and over 60 chemicals such as lead and arsenic. Most bottled water is equally unsafe and adds billions of pounds of plastic waste each year, with less than 10% of plastic bottles being recycled. This is unsustainable and a health hazard. This calls for Spout. Okay? How much water does your machine make a day? You can make up to 2.5 gallons of water, depending on the temperature and humidity in your home. What is the power usage? It says 300 to 600 watts. Can this machine run on solar? Yes, and that's what I recommend as well. We would recommend at least 2 kW, 2 kilowatts array. Do I have to change the filters? Yes, you do every 3 months. So make sure you have spare filters on you or learn how to create a makeshift filter. I have books of this on the Patreon if you're interested in it. Okay. Let me mute this because they might flag me for this. You see this? This is how it works. Look. Look at that. Look at technology. You see that? Don't never said I ain't put you on or nothing. That's it. Now there's another competitor that's not just countertop, but you can use it anywhere, right? Watch this. WaterGen. WaterGen's patented technology creates high-quality drinking water out of air for people everywhere. The production of drinking water from humidity in the air, AWG, is one of the most important and innovative water extraction solutions available today, used to tackle the growing problem of depleting levels of drinking water in the world. Within a decade from now, it is believed that 50% of the world's population will live in areas without access to clean, fresh, and safe drinking water. And if you had to be on the run, you may not have access to the same type of water, right? WaterGen is pioneering Israeli company. You see that? This is where that money's going. Wait, let me slow down for a second. I just want to throw that on y'all. Wait, maybe it's too small. I think it's too small. Let me zoom in. Some. Hold on. There we go. That should be big enough, right? An Israeli company. Remember I talked about those billions of dollars? What do you think those Israelis are doing with that money? That if we had that money, knowing our black minds, how innovative we are, the IP we can create, they're giving it to Israelis. Because the Israelis are on the forefront of this type of technology, not us. So I'm just showing you an alternative option. You don't have to go with this Israeli company if y'all don't support Israel. You already know where I stand, right? But what I'm saying is they invented something that we can take advantage of and we can engineer ourselves, right? It says the company solutions are the most effective and economical way to solve the pressing issue of drinking water scarcity in any location and at any time, and also enable the elimination of carbon-intensive supply chains and environmentally harmful plastic waste. Okay? I got muted again. I don't want them to, you know. So you see this? Right? You can pull water out the air anywhere on this planet. Now, you may not be able to get as much in areas that are arid, but you will get enough water to sustain you. Now, think about how credible that is. Or we didn't have this technology 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So if ish hit the fan at that time and you had to be on the run, you will have no options. But now there's options. Here's a mobile box. This right here should be part of your prep stuff that you throw in the car when ish hit the fan and said, let's go. You get that condenser, plug it into a solar panel battery, right, with the panel on top, so that you can keep that water going if you need it. So if you're in the wilderness somewhere and out in the woods or something, you can pull drinking water. You don't have to go to the rivers, and you don't have to go to the brooks, and you don't have to go near the ocean or any of that to get your water. You can stay mobile. And they have machines that are smaller than this that you can take with you. This is technology that we're not aware of. We're not. And this is why I strive to use the resources that I have, that I get from y'all, to get privy of this information to share it with you. This is all part of autonomy. When we create our Goshens, these are the principles that we have to have in mind. Self-sustainability. We don't have to go outside of wherever our community is to get any resource. Can't have autonomy without a culture and a community. That's the driving forces for autonomy. All right. See, look, I don't think a lot of people value the information that we bring across on this channel, and it's okay. Right? I'm not sure how valued it is, but it's okay. I appreciate everybody here that does respect and support it. And hopefully you can pass this information on to somebody else that can use it. But what I'll start doing is doing prepping sessions as well. I'll do a session on prepping. Out here in Atlanta, right, where I live, I'm going to show you something, right? There is a place that I go to, an actual store that I go to. It's called True Prep. True Prep, okay? Let me show it to you. And if you're in a major city, you have one of these in your city as well, right? I've seen about 15 major cities that have them, right? And what the purpose of this shop is, everything you would need to prepare for an emergency, for a disaster, for whatever case, persecution, if it happens to us, as Israelites being the last line of ethics and morality as prescribed to our patron deity on this planet, you will be targeted. So you may have to be on the run. And if so, you have to be prepared. If you're in Atlanta, you can check out True Prep. If you're not in Atlanta, there's preparedness places anywhere that you're at. They have books, workshops, learning center, kits, gear, first aid. First aid is good, but first aid is not really what you want to focus on if you're on the move, especially if you're being persecuted by an entity that is responsible for all the facilities that can bring you aid. So you have to get into what's called survival medicine. Survival medicine and first aid are not the same thing. First aid is you treat the wound and the patient until aid arrives. We don't know how long that could be. It could be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 hours, whatever, but it's temporary. Survival medicine is you have to keep that person alive without any aid coming to rescue you. That's important. Do you know what a tourniquet is? Do you know what a suture is? Do you know what a splint is? Do you know how to use these things? Do you know how to perform CPR? Do you have clotting agents? Do you know how to dress a wound? All this stuff is important. What about if you're in the woods? Do you know how to forage for natural pesticides? Do you have a EMS trauma kit in your bug out bag? All this stuff is important. All of it. Oxygen absorbers. Do you have a gas mask? in case they try to use chemical warfare against you, or we're invaded and they're using chemical warfare? Do you have these things? If not, you should have these things. There's some things that I still need to get, and I'm sure there's some things that you still need to get. It is an art and a science behind this. And this is important. So don't ever think or get too comfortable and complacent living here to think that nothing's going to happen. We saw when COVID hit, waters was off the shelves. But you know, if you're autonomous and you have those machines, you can say, okay, let them take the water. I don't even go shop for water anyway. Let me just plug on my machine, connect this to my solar panels and my conservative battery, and let me get me my 2.5 gallons of water. Oh, word, there's no more foods out there. Oh, let me go pick up this arrow garden I got. Let me get some, make a little salad. Got some beans over here too for my proteins. Okay. All right, it's good. Look at my fruits. Let me get my fruits from out of there. Oh, I got an MRE in case I need more protein. You can grab my MRE, put some water in it. And that is what we are trying to foster here at KHM, an autonomous community, aka a Goshen. So while this nation attempts to persecute us, while Yah is judging it divinely, that we have a close-knit community founded off of culture and community where we are autonomous and self-governed so that we can take care of all our essential needs without aid from outside sources. So a lot of that time that you don't see me on here, I'm prepping, I'm researching, I'm preparing, I'm looking for new resources. And this is the type of time that we all should be on right now. Okay. All right. I'll do a separate session on prepping and stuff like that if y'all interested in. All right. Let me know if you want me to do a series on it too. I could do a series on it as well. Okay. All right. I'm gonna pause right there with that. I'm gonna give a few more minutes. If you have some questions, let me end off and maybe 2 or 3 questions, and then I'm out. But yeah, just feel free to ask me your questions. I got about 10 minutes left. 2 or 3 questions I'll answer, and then we'll close out this show. I think this was a pretty good show. Pretty good show. I think it was a pretty good show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it on the repeat. If you're watching it again for the first time on the replay, thank you for making it this far, and hopefully the information that's been shared has been valuable. If there's any suggestions you have for me to improve the content that we have on this channel, please let me know. If there's any insights or anything, information that you would love to share with me, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. And thank you to all our patrons on this channel, on our Patreon, and patronizers, whether it's our services, our products, or whatever. Those financial resources helps us to look into these things, to prepare these things, and to share it with you, right? That's what we do with the information that we receive. We give it back to the people. With the resources that we get, we use it to help out the community and to invest, whether it's getting resources, helping people pay their rent, their bills, whatever the case may be. We work with what we have responsibly as much as we possibly can, because we are each other's keeper, nobody else. You look like me, you live like me, and you're real like me. I'm obligated to you. When you're absent and your kids are around, I'm obligated to parent those kids, and vice versa. This is what we need right now. Everything else is all a formality. You see how everything is playing out in the current events. I don't have to tell y'all. So you'll know what we need to do. All praise to the Most High. All right. Anything else? No questions? No questions. If so, I can end this short. So when people see the length of the video of the live stream, they'll say, "Oh, this is too long." Well, no. That's how we deal with it. All right. Okay. All right. We got one question. Let me see. Scott said, "Oh, wait, hold on, real quick before I close out. I do want to mention this, or I almost forgot. All right. There is an event that's taking in Atlanta, Georgia, called the Messiah Conference on December 16th, 2023. Right. This is taking place out here in Atlanta at Beulah Heights University or Bible College. Right. This is hosted by Bishop William Brown. and his congregation. And they're gonna have Moray Shanta Nettles be there, Moray Haran K Cowens, and Moray Zion Lex, right? So this is out here in Atlanta. I will be in attendance, right, to show my support. I was not invited, by the way. It's okay. It's okay. They didn't invite me. They didn't even tell me what's happening. I found out just like everybody else found out, right? But I will be going through to show my support like I always do, even when I'm not even invited or considered to be invited. I don't know why that is, but you know, it's fine. I just want to make sure y'all are aware of it. So whenever I can get a flyer, I will post it on the community tab of the channel. And if you're in the Atlanta area, or let's say you want to come by to the event, let me know, right? Or you can go and check out the link. I'll share the link with you. There's one on Bishop William Brown's Facebook page. Also, Moray Zion Lex has it also on his YouTube channel as well. I haven't been able to find the actual flyer, but I have found the video that they used. Now I don't have the flyer. But I just found out about this week. So I'm going to share the link with you. Let me share the link for y'all to check it out. And if y'all are there or here, let me know. I was also at the Hebrews and Eagles 3 event. I didn't really report back on that, but I think the event had an excellent turnout. It was very interesting to see Ron Dalton's perspective on things. I can't say I agree with everything. Some stuff I do. Some stuff I'm like not too sure about. I don't subscribe to it, but I was there to support him regardless, right? And to support our Israelite family that was there. So again, I wasn't invited to the event, but I wasn't even told about it. I found out just like everybody else, you know what I'm saying? But I'm the biggest supporter because I'm at these events and I promote these events for them. And nobody actually says, hey, Divine, you know, we're having this event. Do you want to help out? Even if I can just be at the door and greet, even if you want me to hand out flyers, right? Even if you want to use my name to bring more people in, you can use me. I'm here to help our community grow. I don't understand why there's this issue with even informing me. And it's not like these people don't know me. I mean, they have my number, you know what I'm saying? They have my email. They can reach out to me. If it's happening in Atlanta, I'm here to support. This is my hometown now. I'm here to support. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that I still show up and I still promote for them, and I tell people, yeah, I'm gonna be there, come support. I mean, the least that they could do is say, hey, Divine, thank you. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. I only said to say that there is a marginalization going on with me and certain groups in the community. I have nothing personal against anybody. I love everybody in our community. I root for all our leaders and so forth, except for that elder that you saw earlier. Anyway, I go to the Masha Yasharala events that they had. They had the next one they have is in Tampa. I go to these events. I support. I do what I need to do, right? But if y'all out there and anybody has an event and you need my support to help out or whatever the case may be, I'll do what I can because I want our team to win. I'm a team player. I don't need to be on the headline. I don't need to be speaking, but at least inform me. So if it's in my city, I can support. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got your backs. And that's another problem we have is unity in this community. You know what I'm saying? We're very selective when it comes to that. But as y'all know, I've been this way since day one. I supported people that's not even in the Israelite community and helped them with their platforms and stuff. That's what I've been doing. So anyway, that event is happening December 16th. So hopefully if y'all are in the city of Atlanta, y'all coming through, and the link that I shared with y'all, click on the link. You do have to email Bishop William Brown, and he'll tell you the details on how you can get a slot. There's only 50 seats from what I heard. So if you plan on going, please RSVP ASAP, right? Because I definitely will be there to support. And I hope to see some of you there. I just wanted to mention that real quick. All right. Let me get into this last question, and then let me bounce real quick. I seen Scott's question, but DJ said, I think it's because of your stance on the pre-existence of Yeshua. Well, DJ, excellent insight. If that's the case, that's something I definitely want to ask Zion Lex if he subscribes to the pre-existence of Yeshua. I will definitely ask him that question because I would love to see how he answers that. But you're right, I don't subscribe to the pre-existence of Yeshua, and that could be an issue. I don't subscribe to the virgin birth, and that could be an issue, right? So maybe those are some doctrinal differences as to why. But I don't at the same time, because that is not my stance. I don't say that their stance is without merit. I don't say my opponent's stance is without merit. You came to your conclusion for the reasons you did, and I'm fully aware of them, but I came to mine for the reasons I did, and maybe you're not fully aware of it. And I think that that's where the issue comes in, that they're not really clear on what my position is, even though I continuously share it, like constantly, like I share what that is. Levi tribe, yes, Zion is messianic. And you'll see he's going to give his story at the event as well, right? He's going to tell you how he became messianic, right? So yeah, that's what it is. All right. Thank you, Set Apart Girl. I appreciate that. I will continue to do what Yah has strengthened me to do for our family. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we can do an NYC event. I'm with it, sis. You know, Asantawa, you know, that's your thing, you know. Let me know what you want us to do, and KHM will do it. You know what I'm saying? She's part of KHM, so you just let me know how you want to take a crack at it. All right. All right. So all right, let me see. Man, y'all asking me a lot of good questions with limited time. All right. Scott's question is, what'd you say when Judas comes to betray Yeshua? Would say the Greek expressed that there was legion of soldiers, not just 2 or 3 guards. Okay, so Scott, give me a passage and let me check it out real quick. All right. All right. Ma'ad Ben Yaakov says, do you have a lesson on what you believe about Yeshua? Yes, I have tons of them. Right. Let me drop them in the chat for you. I think the best one is capital punishment, human atonement for sin in the Bible. Right. Let me see. I think that is probably the best one right there. I have tons of others, but that's probably the best one. Let me share that with you. Let me drop that in the chat. There you go. Boom. That's for you, Yamad. All right. Okay, let me see. Outside of asking Yah to unharden your heart, are there things you can do on your own to begin that process? Yes. Meditation. Right. And Stacks, I think you know about that. Meditation, right? But for those who are unaware, whoa, what just happened to my computer? For those who are unaware, let me go ahead and get that meditation by the book. If you haven't seen this lecture, then let this be your lesson. This is an excellent lecture in regards to how you can cleanse your heart, right? To make it soft for Yah and pliable for Yah to mold you, right? This is the lecture right here in the chat. Go ahead and check it out. All right. All right. Let me see. Yeah, so that's an excellent question. I have that on the Patreon. So Bruce Spritter, you have my number. Just send me a text, and I'll give you some. There's tons of articles written on that, and I think I have a few of them on the Patreon. I'll send it to you. Just email me, and I'll get it to you. Okay. All right. Let me see. Anytime. Shout out to Ernest Higgs in the building. Shalom King. Lawrence Jones, shalom. Deborah Odom, shalom, Deborah. How you doing? Let me see. Question. Last one. Yeah, definitely check it out again, my brother. Yes, about the musing over your murmurs, at any moment to melodies. Musing over your murmurs at any moment over melodies. Musing, murmurs, moment, melodies. So, Andre 3000, he released a new album, studio album, where he was playing flutes. That's the melody. Muse over your murmurs. Muse is going to deep contemplative thought about your murmurs, allowing your heart under your breath to exit everything that is pent up inside of you. Muse over those murmurs, the good, the bad, and ugly. Let it come out unfiltered. Muse over it. Let it come out towards Yah. Let it come out towards Yah. Muse over it at any moment, preferably to melodies, because that's going to help it to flow. That's what the psalmist was doing. And in that lecture, I break it down. Yes, being wise, this podcast right here, right, called Let's Talk About It, will be airing next year on our Patreon page. So please, if you want to support this channel, the best way to do it is sign up for our Patreon, because you get an immediate ROI, immediate return on your investment. Because once you sign up, there's a repository of information. The stuff that's about prepping, I have all that on there, right? The scholarly resources all on there, videos on there, resources, tools, Bible applications, audio Bibles, everything, you name it, videos that you have to pay for, everything is on there, and over almost 500 books you can read. Almost 50 plus articles you can read. Everything is on that Patreon. It is a treasure trove or gold mine repository in our community, right? It's the best way you can support this channel. And in exchange, we give you a ton of resources that you won't be able to go to even in a lifetime. Not enough time to go through all of that stuff, especially reading all the books that you're being presented, right? But yes, this will be one of the benefits of getting the Patreon, because there's some things that I cannot say and some content I cannot show on YouTube, because I will be flagged and I will be banned. And that's exactly what YouTube was looking to do with my channel. I did a whole show on what YouTube was doing to the channel. They don't want it to exist, but it's here. It's here. All right. Yo, that is hilarious, man. That's hilarious. Hilarious, man. So Booyakasha, if you're interested, and I know who you are, Booyakasha. And no, I'm not saying that we should be signing up for the military, but I'm not against an Israelite who decides they want to join the military for whatever reason they're going to join the military for. I saw your question earlier. But you already know how I rock when it comes to the Sabbath, right? The Sabbath day is a 24-hour period that begins at sunset on what we call Friday and concludes on sunset of what we call on Saturday. Now, sunset to sunset, the time is not 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. because you very rarely, except for the equinox, get an even day like that. That time changes, and depending upon where you're located at on the globe, I'm sorry, some flat earthers out there, on the planet, it will change as well. So if you're closer to a tropical zone, it will be different than if you're further away from that tropical zone or in the temperate zone, right? So if you're interested in the Sabbath, we have a playlist that you can click on. Just look for our Sabbath playlist, and it'll give you all the information you're looking for on the Sabbath, okay? And you're in GA? Okay, cool. Yep, no doubt. All right, so I'm going to close out with 5 minutes to spare. Scott, hold your question. You can email it. I think you gave it real quick. All right, let me see if I can look at it real quick. John 18:3. Let's close out on this, right? John 18:3. Let me pull it up real quick. When Yeshua had spoken these words, he went out with his disciples across the brook Kidron, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, for Yeshua often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having produced a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Then Yeshua, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them, "Whom do you seek?" They answered him, "Yeshua of Nazareth." Yeshua said to them, "I am he." Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. When Yeshua said to them, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. So he asked them again, "Who do you seek?" And they said, "Yeshua of Nazareth." Yeshua answered, "I told you that I am he. So if you seek me, let these men go." This was to fulfill the word that was spoken, "Of those whom you gave me, I have not lost one." Then Simon Peter, or Cephas, having a sword, drew it, and he struck the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. So Yeshua said to Cephas, "Put your sword in your sheath. Shall I not drink the cup that was given to me by my father, or that my father has given me?" So the band of soldiers and their captain and the officers of the Jews arrested Yeshua and bound him. All right, so let's go to verse 12. Right? We have the word cohort there from spera, kaiho. Then we have this word for commander, which is kiliakos, kaihoi, haipuerete, which is officers. It's in the masculine plural, so it's more than one. We have a commander, so we have a plural here. We have a commander. And this typically, when you see this word for cohort, it typically means that it could be a legion or a band. That's where you get the word band from. So there was not 2 or 3 out of soldiers. I don't know who said there was only 2 or 3 of them. There was a whole legion, or a section of a legion, which consists of a commander and officers. So yes, you could say there was a legion. There definitely was no just 2 or 3. There was more than 2 or 3. It can't be just 2 commanders and 1 commander and 2 soldiers, right? If it's a cohort, cohort, which Cornelius, by the way, was part of, is more than 2, right? So if that answers your question, I hope it did, right? So there's definitely more than 1 or 1 and 2 there that went to perform this task of seizing and arresting him. Okay. Othniel says, "Are you coming to fan base?" Yes, I've been asked to come there because, as y'all know, Clubhouse, which I used to go on and kill in, not literally, has dried up and it's become very weak now. I've been invited to fan base, so yes, I am on fan base. I'm just not as active, right? So I will definitely work on becoming active. And oh yes, it's the International Decade for People of African Descent event, March 25th next year. This is, yeah, we can do an event surrounding that, sis. So please do that, because next year is the last year for the International Decade for People of African Descent. I spoke on this I can't say in perpetuity, but I spoke on this plentifully on this channel. I even have a playlist about this. I even show footage of me being there in 2018. This is one way to help liberate our community, help establish our identity, and our autonomy. So we need to take advantage of it, right? And we should do so we can be grandfathered in regards to the international community outside of the U.S., the restraints of the federal and state governments, right, and local governments, right? So in March 25th, we want to go to New York and have a big group event there in New York. We could do a lecture or we can just do a get-together event. But we definitely want to descend on the UN for the International Decade for People African event. This is an event that they have on March 25th, and we want to definitely be there. So yes, please, sis, let's set something up around that and get that cracking. Okay. All right. I'm going to end here. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa Marie Anderson. This definitely made my evening. I don't think so, but it's good to hear it from other people. All praises to the Most High, Yah. I pray that whatever I do, He gets the glory in doing so. I'm here for the edification of our people. I'm y'all keeper. Hopefully, it's the same way. And this channel is here to serve the community. You know, there's tons of things that we've spoken on, that we shared, and that we continue to do for the community. And even if the community did not want me, I would still be here for all of y'all if needed. All right. So all praise to the Most High. So with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed your this session on tonight. Shabbat shalom to all y'all that's keeping it this evening and tomorrow. I will see you on the next live stream. I enjoyed myself. Much love to all y'all. Please support the channel. If you need anything from us, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. You'll see it scrolling at the bottom. And whatever we can do to continue to serve you, please let us know. All right. Much love to y'all. Peace and shalom, family. Shalom. Shalom.